Are you doing good in here?
Yes, very good.
Cool.
Yes. Okay, oops, they're mostly here. Oh my God.
Communicate with you, really appreciate it. Thanks for coming over.
Oh, no, no problem.
It's interesting.
I was shocked.
Yeah, you know, it's a terrible tug of war.
The state just come out and say,
Yeah, I didn't really get that. I didn't see I got there.
That's nothing.
Good morning, but
They gotta live somewhere too. You know, you should be more protective of your backyard, right?
it's all good.
Yeah. It stays that way. There's so much money and so much crap on this issue. Strange things happen in the world. Yeah, it's all an issue in Hawaii, so there's a lot of writing. I wouldn't be surprised if strange things happen. I'm watching.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Take care.
That's kind of stop
Good afternoon, Chair. Currently, we have one testifier.
Okay. And I'm not sure how many we have here, but I think it's in the 20s. Okay, so I'm going to ask the first three testifiers here in the corner to please come forward. That would be Jonathan Cole, Shannon Rudolph, and Terry Cabrera. And Waimea and Hilo and the other sides, can you please have your testifiers ready? And I'll go into two at a time in the other sides. Mr. Cole and testifiers, you have 3 minutes to testify today. We do not have a 30-second warning buzzer to go to let me know when 30 seconds are remaining. So the buzzer will sound at 3 minutes, and I would ask you to please finish at that point, and you can finish your sentence, but you need to summarize and finish right at that time. Okay? You can go ahead.
Go ahead, go.
There you go.
Okay, I'm here to testify in support of Bill 113. I think it's a good start to a very pressing problem that's afflicting not only this island and the state, but actually the whole world at this point. I would just like to say that GMO is a really complicated issue that is often, the complexity of which is often used to muddy the waters. But the fact is that it's part of a greater corruption that's going on in the world. And in this case, it's a corruption of the way that we use innovation to deal with our food supply. There are so many potential toxic side effects from GMO, the GMO quote-unquote innovation, that scientists are studying it all over the world and coming to very negative conclusions. It's kind of like what happened when in the financial meltdown of several years ago, where banks were allowed to sell insurance policies against default on bad loans, but they didn't have to have any money in the bank to back it up. GMO is like that. It's like they're selling us toxic technology, but they don't really have anything in the bank to back up the outcome from the inevitable side effects. Side effects that include poisoning the land with toxic pesticides and herbicides. It includes putting pesticides actually into the food that they claim only bother the insects. But as we all know, with many other situations, way later down the road when they find out that it causes cancer or it causes some other kind of chronic illnesses or endocrine disruption or hormonal imbalances or whatever, that by then it's too late and they don't have the money in the bank to pay off all the claims. And in the meantime, the people who have been affected by it will have had to suffer the consequences. And who are the people? They're you and me, our children, our grandchildren, the entire natural world. And I am really proud that the Hawaii County Council has taken this first step to make a stand against this toxic, dangerous technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Mr. Rudolph?
Aloha Council, Shannon Rudolph. Thank you very much for passing this bill today.
Ready? My name is Terry Cabrera. I'm here with my husband Peter, both born and raised here. We are facing the greatest threat known to mankind, GM crops with its pesticides and herbicides, and it is being delivered via the corruption of our government officials at the state and federal levels. Our legislature, Congress, EPA, USDA, FDA have become the enablers of death being dealt out by the big 6 biotech companies and their GMO technology. The very people sworn to protect us and our lands are the ones selling us out, looking for or receiving promises of power, influence, higher office, contracts, jobs, etc. There are those who want to do the right thing, but the bad seems to be outweighing the good for now. In this day and age, with our superior technology, is this the best we can come up with? Poisoning our land and the people? People, children of this generation are sick and dying, lands poisoned, reefs dying, drinking water contaminated. How much more abuse do you think the land and the people are going to take while our government caters to these companies and their agendas? If your conscience isn't pricked, then you really are deceived. But then they are masters of deception, aren't they? When faced with calls for labeling and honest disclosure or bills to keep them out, their response is threats of lawsuit, aggressive lobbying, campaign contributions, donations to research centers and universities to publish favorable reviews. We, the people of the United States and the other countries being duped or strong-armed into supporting this horrific technology are the lab rats testing GMOs, and our lands are the laboratories. Know this. All are in their positions because it has been purposed from above for such a time as this. What is in the hearts of men is being exposed for judgment. God is over all and ultimately determines everything, and he is fed up with men's greed and unjust gain. Judgment is here, as is reward for those who choose to do the right. If you think you will walk away unscathed when supporting the violence of GMOs against the people and the environment we live in, think again. We are all held accountable and suffer the consequences of selfish and wrong choices. We reap what we sow multiplied, whether for good or for evil, is the issue here. Abraham Lincoln said, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Do the right thing and good thing by the people and for the people and our islands before it really is too late. Pass the bill, please.
Thank you. Excuse me. I'm going to ask everyone to please not applause just because we have so many people that want to testify. I want them to be able to continue to the next testifier. Thank you. Waimea, you can bring up your first two, please.
Good afternoon. Our first testifier is Diane Shorell, speaking in support and making comment on Bill 113, representing herself.
Hello, I'm Diane Shorell. We have a unique opportunity to make the Big Island the place to procure non-GMO food. This is not a niche market. We're reaching a tipping point. If we decide we want GMO later, we can always allow it. But once the genie is out of the bottle, there's no going back. You are our elected representatives. Please listen to your constituents. They have overwhelmingly backed Bill 113 and Bill 79 before it. Please support Bill 113. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next testifier is Cynthia Waymaguante, representing herself, speaking in support of Bill 113.
My name is Cynthia Waymaguante. I'm an educator of some 30 years, a nationally certified licensed acupuncturist, and a mother whose children and grandchildren all live on this island. I support passing Bill 113, Draft 2, immediately. I represent myself. I wish to address comments that are being made such as, no one has ever been hurt by GMO foods. I remember when I was 5 years old, my dad went to the hospital. He was very sick. The doctors removed 2/3 of his stomach and told him to stop smoking cigarettes. My dad's operation was in 1955. My dad's friends offered cigarettes to my dad after that, saying, Bill, that's hogwash. Cigarettes don't hurt you. There was no definitive proof at that point that cigarettes were harmful, just the beginnings of research and development of patterns that the more insightful and aware doctors were noticing. It was not until 1965, 10 years later, that the warning label was put on packages of cigarettes. Caution, cigarette smoking may be hazardous to your health. 2 years after that, in 1967, the label was changed to warning, cigarette smoking is dangerous to health and may cause death from cancer and other diseases. In 1969, a law prohibited cigarette advertising on television and radio. In the 1980s, the Comprehensive Smoking Education Act required 4 specific health warnings on all cigarette packages and advertisements. And just last year, in 2012, new regulations were enacted requiring that labels cover 50% of cigarette packages on both the front and the back. Providing safety for our community at the national level lags well behind findings, particularly when the safety of the citizens is being played out against the profits of hugely profitable industries. The American Academy of Pediatrics in November of 2012 published a 20-page report with 195 references. We, the American Academy of Pediatricians, are concerned with the impact of pesticide use on children. They state that data is becoming more and more compelling, that the unborn child and the infant and the growing child are particularly susceptible to pesticides. The areas in which they find the most evidence include leukemias, brain cancers, endocrine problems, neurodevelopmental problems, and asthma. How many children will be harmed if we wait for the industry that profits or the federal government to stop the harm? I urge you to pass Bill 113, Draft 2, immediately.
Thank you very much. Hello, can you please bring up your first 2 testifiers?
Yes, Madam Chair, our first testifier is Corey Harden, making a comment on Bill 113, Draft 2, followed by Hanalei Fergustra, who is in support and has a comment on Bill 113, Draft 2. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. Corey Harden speaking for myself, commenting on Bill 113. Please support the bill, but please drop Exemption 1, and please add a sunset date of 2 years for GMO corn, so all our corn on the line doesn't get contaminated. Please do not support Mr. Onishi's amendments, Communications 313.52 through 56. They completely gut the bill. They would delete registration. They would exempt existing GMO locations. They'd exempt people working for universities and government, exempt flowers and ornamentals, and exempt plants granted non-regulated status by USDA, even if that happens in the future. I think I like most of Market Willie's last amendments regarding home rule, allowing an emergency exemption. If people want to grow GMOs, they have to come ask for it. I like the protection for farmers with non-disclosure of names and locations of GMO fields to the general public. And I like the stronger enforcement. Our county has very limited resources for enforcement, but of course it's following us because the feds and state have failed to pass adequate GMO laws. Please consider adding 2 sections from Bill 109. Disposal of confiscated GMOs, which spells out safe disposal, and penal enforcement B, and then whoever grows GMOs is responsible for cleaning them up. Passing this bill might draw a lawsuit from the biotechs, but that could blow up in their faces. Court proceedings could shine a light on their hazardous practices. They would face the legal and financial resources, not just of our island, but multiple national environmental groups. It could end up in a big loss for the biotechs and a big win for us as the only Hawaiian island that held the line on biotech. Not passing this bill could make us end up like Kauai. They're finding out way too late that GMOs mean loss of pesticides and herbicides and really disclosure about what's used, how much, and where, and almost no help from state inspectors. Enforcing Kauai's GMO bill would cost over $1 million just in the first year. Let's not go there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next testifier in Hilo, please.
Hello. Oh, okay. Good afternoon. I'm Hanalei Fergustra. I'm the spokesperson for Nakapuna Moku Kialu. And so I'd like to say I really support this bill, but I do believe that we need to have, like Corey was talking about, some of these stronger language preventing the grandfathering of like the GMO corn and humicore. It's pretty much confined right now. We have a chance to get it out and not in our air. And so I support this with the idea that we're certainly going to move a little stronger for the sunsetting of the GMO corn. You know, a part of this, I mean, I appreciate everybody's comments on the health aspects of it. There is another part of this GMO dilemma that we're in that has not been brought up, at least I don't know to be brought up. And that's proprietary rights. And I say that because this has been a very controversial thing in Maine and in other countries where it's already been determined that if those genetic modified the footprints, I guess is the only way I can describe it, are found to be on somebody else's corn that did not invite or did not plant GMO corn, could lose his entire crop to the patent owner of the GMO, such as Monsanto. And so that's another area that you might want to consider as to why we need to protect this item very badly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to go to Pahoa now. Pahoa, can you please introduce your first two testifiers?
First, we have Mr. Gregory Smith, representing himself, and second, we have Mr. Thomas Travis, both in support.
Good afternoon, Council. For all this discussion since August, people have been saying that somehow or another that GMO is going to save the papaya industry. I take great exception to that because facts from the National Agricultural Statistics Service say very different. Papaya is actually going out of business. It has been actually since, let's see, 1997. 1997, the papaya industry hit an all-time high of nearly $19 million in sales. In May of 1998, GMO was introduced into Puna and the rest of the state, and they had $12 million in sales. And interestingly enough, this trend, this downward trend in sales of the papaya, of the rainbow genetically engineered papayas, now, as of 2012, is around $9 million. Another little factoid about this is basically just another failure of GMO among many agricultural uses of GMO. They fail. Basically, the technology is used for nothing more than getting control of seed markets and, just to gain control of the food of the world. In fact, in 2001, that was Monsanto's stated goal, to GMO every plant on the planet, particularly food crops. We had another little factoid from the Hawaii County Sustainable Food Report as of 2012, is that we have 1,400 acres of papaya in Puna alone planted. We have 4,000 acres of fallow papaya lands. Let's understand what these fallow papaya lands are about. These are burnt, dead pieces of land. They won't be useful for anything except growing weeds for at least a decade. Way back in 1971, the farmers were having problems with trying to put multiple crops over the same land. So they introduced the virgin soil technique of planting papaya, which is basically you run your papaya out until it doesn't produce anymore, or it can't produce because you poison the land. You've actually poisoned the land so much the plants can't grow. So they go off into a virgin field, a virgin piece of land, bulldoze it down, scrape every bit of living matter off of it into burns along the sides of the field, and then start their poisoning of the earth. This is not sustainable. I do agree, this bill has to be passed because how much longer can we stand being poisoned? How much longer can our air and water be foul? As a commercial fisherman, I can tell you, the greatest threat to fisheries around the world, aside from overfishing, is agricultural runoff.
Oh, thank you. Just to check, Pahoa, are you timing the testifiers at your side?
Yeah, you did hear the timer go off. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make sure that it sticks to the 3 minutes.
Thank you. Okay,
Next we have Mr. Thomas Travis.
I'm Mr. Thomas Travis, and I'm speaking for myself. I would like to congratulate you, the council, on your leadership and your courage. I can only imagine the pressures you are feeling from paternal state legislators and regulators, so-called scientists, and wealthy business. Remember our history. Wealthy business and their allies have told us what is best for us, discounting what we think. You are stepping out from that history. Business and allies say there is no record of harm, but you are saying that is not enough. We must have some certainty of safety. Many talk about economic impact, but you are saying that we need to be forward-thinking and realizing that the environment and safety and decisions with that will bring more to the island than it will take away. You are forward-thinking to understand that the use of chemicals that is part of the GMO business plan is almost certainly harmful both to the people and the environment, and you are acting on it. As to amendments represented by Communication 393.52 to .56, consideration will cause, at best, unnecessary delay, and at worst, unnecessary dilution of the bill. I ask that you pass Bill 113 and that you reject amendments 393.52 through 56. Thank you for your service.
thank you very much. I'm going to go to Ka'u next, but while I'm doing that, I'd like to ask the next three people here in Coney to come forward. That would be Derek Brewer, Toivo Lati, and Elizabeth Lee. And I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name right. I don't see Elizabeth Lee. Okay. Then Sarah Shirley. Okay, and Ka'u, you can introduce your testifier, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. We also have another testifier. Our first one is Renee Dufault, representing Food Ingredient and Health Research Institute, and herself.
Thank you for your kind attention as I speak before you on the nutritional implications of GMO and glyphosate exposure. My name is Renee Dufault, and I am a retired United States Public Health Service officer living here on the Big Island. During my public health service career, I worked at a number of different agencies. For example, I worked at the FDA for 9 years. I currently serve as the Executive Director of the Food Ingredient and Health Research Institute. We have published a few articles on the mechanisms involved in the development of autism and attention deficit activity disorder, ADHD, from mercury exposure and or the consumption of high fructose corn syrup, which is derived from genetically modified corn. From 2005 to 2010, the population in Hawaii grew at a rate of 5.2%. During the same period of time, children in Hawaii with autism receiving special education services increased 31.2%. Children with developmental delay receiving special education services increased 14.7%. Developmental delay is a subcategory of autism. These alarming increases in the number of children in Hawaii receiving special education services are occurring at a time when special education services in Hawaii have in fact declined by 11.4%. Clearly, these figures suggest that nutrition-related learning disorders must be addressed by policies designed to improve the food supply. The proposed GMO ordinance is just such a policy. There are many direct and indirect mechanisms that contribute to the development of these learning disorders. In addition to the already published mechanisms involving the consumption of high fructose corn syrup, another contributor could be the use of glyphosate on genetically modified glyphosate-tolerant crops such as GMO corn or soybeans. Glyphosate residues are commonly found on crops after treatment and in food products made from these crops. Exposures to glyphosate have been documented in American fathers, mothers, and children living in both farm and non-farm households. Children with autism or ADHD will have trouble metabolizing the glyphosate residues found on glyphosate-tolerant crops because they have lower glutathione levels compared to healthy children. Consumption of high fructose corn syrup has been shown to increase glycation in products, which results in further reductions in glutathione. A negative feedback loop is thus created to create yet one more mechanism for the development of autism and ADHD. With the continued increases in autism and ADHD in Hawaii, it is imperative steps be taken now to clean up the food supply. The proposed GMO ordinance will promote a healthier food supply on the Big Island. We respectfully urge you to pass Bill 113 with no amendments. Thank you for listening to our plea.
And my second testifier is Mr. Ralph Rowland, representing himself.
Well, this is the most courageous thing I've seen in the political arena in our county in years. So thank you very much. I would just like to remind you that if we had a Darwin with this, he would be really chastising us for how we have mishandled our biodiversity and the degree of protection we have given our unique island. So with what attempts we have made to try to protect what we have here, it would be totally incongruent to keep out invasive species and alien plants that would destroy our forests and allow GMOs to come in here unregulated and to perpetrate their folly on the citizenry and the biological environment of this island. You need to look at it in a biological term as well as a human term because it just doesn't make sense. So I'll keep my subject here a little short because I just want to make that point because I haven't heard the protection of our biological unique environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Coming back here to Kona, Derek.
My name is Derek Brewer. I'm representing myself, Eco Hostel Hawaii, GMO Free Hawaii Island, and a number of other people, tourists, and locals on the island. I am in favor, obviously, of Bill 113. In recent news, if you guys haven't been paying attention, Mexico has just banned GMO corn in their country. I specifically recommend an amendment to remove and sunset the corn that's being grown on our island. As for the amendments, number 52, 393.052, that we cannot have open field testing. This amendment essentially allows that to continue to happen, which is the same problem that Kauai is facing, that we cannot allow that. You can certainly not include approved or deregulated crops. That's exactly what we're talking about. The corn, for instance, is a deregulated crop that is approved that we do not want here, and that goes along with all the others. They are attempting to GMO essentially every crop that exists on this planet, and if we do not stop them from coming, it will not end here. It will be every crop that is on this island. We're so concerned with invasive species. What you're dealing with here is an invasive species. You have plants that have never existed before in the history of the planet that are being introduced to this island and all around the world. This is a grave concern with repercussions beyond our wildest understandings. There are so many things that can happen that we cannot even predict what they will be. They will continue to evolve, they will continue to change, and we're not just talking about the foods that we eat. We're also talking about the insects and the plant life. Their survival is integral to our survival. Just because it is a non-edible crop does not make it okay to be genetically modified. We do not need to modify a flower to make it blue. There are practices that can do this. There's a corn, for instance, that is multicolored that has been done by proper and traditional means of crossbreeding of plants. These things can be achieved in proper ways if done in the proper methods. Genetic engineering is a shortcut that we are using as a lazy factor, going, we do not want to do this here, and we do not want to take these shortcuts. We would like to do this the proper way, and I ask you all to take this into account. The precautionary principle here is of grave concern. Just think of the future here. Do not look at short-sighted results for the long-term health of this planet and the INA and Hawaii. People that come here do not come here for a poisoned land. They come here for the beauty and the pristineness and the paradise that exists here. If you want to keep it that way, we have to pass this bill. 393-53, the registration. There's no reason that they cannot be registering their products, including the papayas. In fact, that information will be greatly beneficial to know what is actually going on. If you want hard science to know what is going on, we need this registration to know where these crops are, how much pesticides are being used. This data will be useful for the future in determining what we will allow or what we will not allow. If you want to know this information, that registration must occur. Once again, do not exempt any open field testing. No open field testing. That is a huge one there. We have proprietary technologies, chemicals and quiet that are not being revealed, and we cannot have that happen here. This is not a technology, this is a life form that you're introducing. Please protect us. Pass the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Toivo? Is the light on?
Okay. First I'd like to say, my name is Toivo Lottie, and I'm in support of this bill. First thing I'd like to say is that why do these companies spend so much money trying to keep people from knowing what's in the ingredient list on the internet? Why? Is this so safe that they can just say that, you know, they can just, you know, you could, well, anyway, not such a good speaker, but I want to tell you my experience with drift. In 2002, I had an organic farm in Ponal now. And about a year before, my friend, neighbor, farmer, Kip Naka, he grew GMO papayas about a quarter mile from my organic farm. I had about 170 trees. Kip, he didn't like his GMO papayas. They were too soft. He didn't like them. So he got rid of them. Well, about that time, Millie Bonderos, she came to me and she said, oh, I have a field test kit. Why don't we test your papayas? Oh, okay. So we tested the papayas one day. Oh, right away. Seeds started turning blue. Well, that was the indicator. So I was like freaked out. And I'm wow. So the next day, or right away, I started calling people. And I started calling UBH, and I said, hey, what's the deal? You know? Oh, really? You got that over there? Your farm? I don't know. I guess I do. They're turned blue. Okay. They called me back. Well, next day, we're going to come to your farm right away. We're going to be there in the morning. Well, and I started asking my other people, legal people, and they said, well, you better not let them on your property. So I refused to let them on my property. And they came. Anyway, they went to my neighbors next door, grabbed a couple of papayas on the pretense they were tourists, and I haven't seen a papaya before or something. It was actually one of the main scientists from U of H was there. And they told me later that those papayas turned out negative. We took our samples and we sent them to a GMO lab testing lab in the mainland, and they were about 20% or so GMO seeds in my organic papayas. So I told the scientists this, they said it couldn't happen. So here I was with organic papayas. They had organic meat, but they had GMO seeds inside. So what am I supposed to do? Number one, I couldn't sell them as organic, morally. Number two, you know, far as I'm concerned, I have
Can you
their
please summarize,
property.
sir? I'm sorry.
I have GMO property on my land. So first thing I did was I cut down the trees because I was scared of them coming at me and suing me for having their property on my land. So
Sir, I have to.
yes. Okay. Well, so if any of you are gonna sign on GMO, well, God help you because it's a crazy deal.
Thank you very much. Sarah?
Yes, my name is Sarah Shirley. I'm representing myself and a lot of other local moms out there. I live in North Kona, and I'm originally from Hilo, 6th generation Kama'aina, and I support Bill 113 because it is important to protect the future for all of our island's people, especially the keiki and future generations. Open pollinated GM crops are especially concerning because of the potential of cross-contamination, much like the GM papaya, with non-GM organic crops. And once the contamination occurs, that farmer can no longer sell his or her produce as organic. I have spent countless hours reading and researching the topic of GM crops and food. There is still much debate about the safety and environmental impact of these crops. There is also some concern on a scientific level that new plant pathogens may develop as a result of the GM crops grown here. As a result of the information I have learned, I have been growing as much of my own food for my family as possible and buying organic food. We have a right to grow organic heirloom produce without the risk of contamination by GM crops. We should encourage sustainability and not contaminate plant diversity through corrupt DNA of plants that have naturally evolved for thousands of years. We have a unique ecosystem here on the Big Island with many endemic species that would be threatened by the introduction of GM plants. We need to err on the side of caution in regards to GM plants. This bill does just that. And in closing, as a mom, I'm often reminded of the saying of the Native American proverb that we do not inherit the earth, we borrow it from our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Waimea, do you have the next two testifiers, please?
Yes, our next testifier is Michelle Chavez Arditi, representing herself, speaking in support of Bill 113.
Hi, I'm Michelle Chavez Arditi, and I'm speaking in support of Bill 113. I've lived in Hawaii for 25 plus years and have children and grandchildren on this island. I believe that especially on an island, we must be ruled by the precautionary principle. There are enough questions and concerns about the safety of GMOs that we must act now to stop the spread of the seeds and the crops. If there really was no concern, the industry would not be against labeling and otherwise releasing information about the crops. We need to care for the island and ensure the sustainability of our food supply and take care of our keiki. Do not support any use exemption.
Our next testifier is April K. Lee, speaking for herself and generations of Ohana in support of Bill 113.
Thank you, leaders of our sacred place, and I'm also a mother of my child who lives here and my grandchildren who live here. And I'm also a small farmer and business person in hobby. I have looked into DNA since the 60s when I won at a state level for my work with DNA. And it seems like it may be complicated, but I can tell you that the blueprint of every cell in your body except your blood has as its center in the nucleus deoxyribonucleic acid. And GMO affects this. There is nothing more that will determine your future, your evolution, your health than this small but incredibly infinite molecule DNA. GMO is going to alter your own being instead of your free will, determining your fate and the fate of our collective. We are now handing it over to organizations that basically are in business for profit, have brought the most toxic chemicals to our planet that we have ever had and that have shelf life that we will never get rid of unless we simply use our intelligence, which we won't have if we allow the genetic manipulations from the food we eat, and it starts right now. And I agree open field testing is not acceptable, and I do agree that we need registration. The fact is
that we are starting right now to lay the groundwork for eons of time. And we don't really understand the responsibility unless we could come back and look at whether you believe in God or you believe in nature, that these processes have got us to where we are right now. But it is this huge new influx in the power of corporations having the rights of individuals that have changed the entire planet. And we have to stand together as individuals, as diverse as we are, as multicultural as we are. We live on an island, and we can actually be the harbinger of a great harbor light of freedom and health. Because many times you go to the doctor with cancer right now or some bizarre symptom they can't cure. What are they going to do? They're going to put you on an organic diet. And they're going to tell you to eat raw, clean vegetables and get those enzymes and get your endocrine system working. But more than that, it will be your brain and it will be your DNA. It will be that very thing that you hand to your offspring that is our salvation. So whether you believe in God, please believe in the God within yourself. And soul to soul, I affirm that you speak for all of us in your intelligence. Amen.
Hilo, your next two testifiers, please.
Madam Chair, our next testifier is Michelle Prevost, making a comment on Bill 113, Draft 2, followed by Martha Land, also making a comment.
Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Michelle Prevost, and I am representing the Mother Earth and all sentient beings. I support Bill 113. I have been living in Hawaii for 20 years and love the aina. It is sacred and the GMOs must stop. I am an organic farmer. We have 20 acres of land on the Hamakua. We do not want to have GMO crops here or anywhere for that matter. We need to have a choice, and the way it is now, we do not. The open-air cultivation of GMO crops on the Hamakua for Big Island Dairy puts all organic farmers at risk of contamination. This madness has to stop. Please write amendments to this exemption. Have a true no open-air cultivation law. Please do this for future generations, our children and our children's children. Monsanto is a bully, and big money is involved. We all know this. Do the right thing. Give Americans the right to choose no GMOs. Mahalo for your deep consideration of what so many are saying.
Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Mala Lant, and I'm in support of Bill 113. I'm here to testify for the protection of our aina. I am here to speak for organic farmers, for educators, for mothers, and as a midwife. All my children live on this island, and my grandchildren. I see babies born, I see them live and grow, I see babies grow and go to school and grow up into having amazing focuses and careers in their lives. And I'm here to speak about the generations that are coming. I'm here to speak about the value for caring for 7 generations from now. I believe that we need an amendment to this bill, and to stop open-air GMO pollination is vitally important. I would like to be able to say that the food that is provided on this island is fresh and vital from Mother Earth. But I can't say that and speak the truth to my children. So I'm teaching about sustainability. I'm learning about sustainability because I wasn't taught that. But I believe it is the most important thing that I can experience in my life and for my children's children. The unborn children, the pregnant woman, the growing child, can all have a lot to face if they can't count on us showing protection for what's around them, protection for what they're eating, what they're hearing, and what their time goes into. I support Bill 113. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rob, can you introduce your next two testifiers, please?
First, we have Mr. Robert Pucciusi representing the Punapono Alliance, and second, Mr. Alexander Hanslick, both in support of Bill 113.
Aloha, Council. I'm Robert Pucciusi representing Punapono Alliance. I want to thank the Council for taking up this issue to protect the environment and our economy. I am an organic farmer. I've got an organic farm in Pohiki. I'd like you to look at the legacy of Big Ag in Hawaii, on Oahu, on Maui, and Kauai. We have poisoned our aquifers. We have poisoned the land. We've really abused our resources. And I hope Hawaii County will learn a lesson from that and pay attention. We don't want to go down that same road. It's the same kind of corporate pressure, political pressure. Yeah, we need jobs. Yes, we need agriculture. But at what expense? You have to look at the whole cost of the issue. And when you destroy your resources, your water, and your land for a corporation that's going to take that money and go somewhere else, that's not in the best interest of the people of Hawaii County. Hundreds of people have showed up over the course of these GMO hearings. More than I could even count have testified, the majority of which definitely are telling you, please support this bill, do something about this. I hope that you are a representative council and that you will look at that, and not just the health issues and these other issues that have been raised, but what are the people that elect you, that come to these hearings, what are they asking you for? They're asking you to support this bill. I oppose Mr. Nishu's amendments. I don't think that they're going to dilute the bill. I think they're going to dilute the bill and pretty much gut it and make it worthless. So please don't add those amendments. We have the economics of this. Now, that's what it's really about, the future economics of why it's part of this. And if you look at it, organic markets are exploding all over the place. And as Derek pointed out earlier, GMO markets are shrinking. Countries are cutting them off. They don't want, people do not want, look at what Greg talked about, the papaya industry. When the papaya industry is now down to $9 million a year. Why? People don't want to buy GMO products. We need to help the papaya farmers find a more sustainable way to do their products, and the corn farmers and everybody else. Please pass this bill. Thank you very much. Aloha.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes. Hello, my name is Alexander Hanslick, and I'm representing my wife, Olia Rizvanova, as well. Hello, Council. I would like to remind you that you all work for us, and it is not the other way around, that you actually work for corporations and for money. And if you really look closely, why is there GMOs at all in Hawaii? Why did they come here to begin with? How did they get here? That needs to be addressed. What is the agenda behind GMOs? Why are they put into our life and our food? Are they trying to kill all of us? Where does this come from? These are the issues that need to be looked at. What's behind all of this? I grew up in Washington, D.C. My father worked at the White House. He worked for President Ford, Nixon, worked for Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, and Ronald Reagan. I got as far away as I could from that area at an early age. I came to Hawaii, and it saddens me to know that this corruption that's coming from there is actually breeding its way here. And I spent the weekend listening to the truckers march on D.C. and the Million Veterans March, and what was achieved during that by these people, if you had all the major media shut it out, but there was a big success between the American patriotism within people, and we need to rise up as a people to stop these evil entrepreneurs and corporations from coming into our lives and destroying them. We don't know what's going on. They're deceiving us. We need to wake up to what's going on. So the fact that there's people that are promoting this bill at all needs to be addressed. look inside. Why are you doing this? What kind of money's involved? Be true Americans that care for this earth. Be an American, a Hawaiian American. Americans are patriots that care for each other. Let's care for each other and just really look at this. I support Bill 113. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Here in Kona, I'd like to ask Courtney Rivera, Leona Castle, and Claire LoPrince to please come forward. Okay, we'll call her again later. Then the third one would be, is Joe here? Kohau Bandera. And just to check in, Ka'u, do you have any additional testifiers?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have one new testifier.
Okay, go ahead. And let me know if you have another one after that.
Thank you. We have Gilbert Robinson, represent himself.
Aloha, County Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I just learned that the country of Mexico has recently banned GMO corn. I think it's really alarming that a third world country like Mexico cares more about their food supply than we do. If we can't lead on this issue, let's at least follow. It's interesting also that big corporate money couldn't corrupt Mexico. So I support Bill 113 and sincerely hope the Council does as well. Thank you.
Courtney, are you ready? Thank you.
Aloha Council.
Oh, your microphone.
Aloha Council. My name is Courtney Rivera. I'm a 4th generation coffee farmer and a self-taught organic agriculturalist. As a 25-year-old mother of 3, it deeply concerns me that some of you are contemplating your support for Bill 113 Draft 2. As someone who was born, raised, and currently living in Hawaii, it bothers me that our health is being attacked with the use of GMOs in our agriculture. We live in the most beautiful place in the world. Agriculturally, we have what every farmer dreams of, the ability to grow something year-round. This is also an interest for biotech companies because of our location. We are a tiny island in the middle of the ocean where, for them, makes the perfect laboratory because when something goes wrong, it's contained. The food that we plant today is the result of farmers that grew plants over thousands of years. Plants that develop certain characteristics and unique traits to the environment in which it was grown in, not because of the introduction of GMOs. We live on an island. Our resources are limited. The technology of corporate GMO monocrop industrial agriculture is failing. I understand that economically, GMO agriculture presents alluring profits short term. However, what about the long-term effects? Please don't contribute to the massacre of our soils, the extermination of our plant diversity, the contamination of our waters, and the deterioration of the physical state of our animals, but more significantly, the people of Hawaii. Our food system is in crisis, and GMO agriculture is not the answer. What it is doing is limiting our market potential and ability to be self-sustaining. The obvious answer to these problems is local organic production of food. Why should we have to import 80% of our food from overseas when we can grow it? Hawaiians sustained themselves for hundreds of years before newcomers came to these very islands without GMOs. Why can't we do the same? Our food is being unnaturally changed and it cannot be reversed. It is not fair that I can't grow organic, non-GMO food for my family and friends without the risk of cross-contamination from a neighboring GMO farm. This logic is ludicrous. Prior to having children, I was unaware of what a GMO was or its effects on my body, but as I began to raise my children, my awareness became greater. After all, it is my obligation as their mother and their guardian to ensure their well-being. You have an obligation to the people of Hawaii to guarantee that the decision you make is for the benefit of all. There's an Iroquois Indian saying that goes, we cannot simply think of our survival. Each new generation is responsible to ensure the survival of the 7th generation. Surely you love and care about your ohana. This is why I am confident that you will vote in favor for Bill 113 Draft 2. Mahalo nui loa and aloha.
Thank you.
I'm going to try to sit down this time. Okay. Aloha, this is Carson after. But it is nice to sit with both of these two, because I actually helped both of these families birth their children. So that was nice. In fact, 2 and 2. That was nice. So I speak for the unborn too.
State your name, Claire.
Huh?
State your name for the record.
Oh, Claire. No, Princey. Okay. And I really, first of all, really want to thank all of you, well, almost all of you, for voting that 62. The other two, I expect you to really wake up. Well, I'm not sure about, but you I do. And I do. And that's why I've been looking at you, because I do hope that you understand that I've watched children. This is an issue that was in Oregon for a long time. And I told you last time, I've helped babies be born deformed. And now I've helped the second generations, those that were spared, birth their deformed children. So I don't need any proof, and you don't need any proof either, because you sure as hell had enough proof given from an amazing testifiers. And in fact, I listened to the one we had on Skype, all these questions jamming in him, and I thought, are you listening? Are you listening to what he's saying? Have you watched his movie? Because if you haven't and you don't know what some of these terms are, that's your responsibility. That is your kuleana to get off and turn on that computer at nighttime and figure out what the hell is happening. Because we're pissed off. We are beyond pissed off. These are our children. We love the earth. We love the water. We love the animals. We love it all. And you're killing it. And those amendments from Onishi gotta go. That's for sure. The corn thing, we can't do that. We got 47 out of 53 gardens, organic gardens in the school. You know, I had the one at Avery kind of later. We can't have that either. That's just too much. And we can't trust that they're going to turn around. The ad hoc, Valerie, love you. Fabulous. I'm on there, if you'll let me be on there. Anyway, so I get these committees in here. I think what we're going to have to do is get rid of all the papayas and start again. But right now, put them in the greenhouse, whatever. They're figuring it out. It's going down. So, but don't think that they're stopping with seeds. They got 7 states in the United States. We started with trees. That's where they're at now. 7 states, GM trees. They want all the trees. They want the salmon, the fish. I've worked with the native people along the Columbia River. They want the fish. That's their ancestral connection. Are you really surprised, Mexico? Corn is like hollow. What the hell is wrong with these people? We are tired of it. And like I said last time, we're going to fight, and we're going to fight, and we're going to win. And our kids are already trained. And you may kill, and they have. I have watched our leaders get killed. Not just in Paraguay, but in Oregon. Fires burned, seed companies burned. Okay, I'm going to be nice. Okay, aloha. Thank you.
Hello, Council. My name is Cole Bondero. Thank you for letting me testify. I have to admit that I hesitated to testify because you've heard me before on this. I support 113 Draft 2 as it exists, as it's presented. I'm here, I'm an organic farmer in Honau now. I'm also here as a member of the Kona Coffee Farmers Association Board of Directors. We have hundreds and hundreds of farmer members. We're not talking about 2 or 5 or 10 or 50. And you have to remember where agriculture is concentrated in the state of Hawaii. It happens to be on the west side of this island. And I just want to say that we worked very hard with Angel Palago, Brenda Ford, on the Coffee and Taro ordinance as it exists currently. And one of the big issues that we were dealing with is open air testing needs to not be happening, because open air testing essentially means that Kona Coffee loses its name immediately when the university, when the state is doing that kind of action. And so when I see these kinds of exemptions, amended exemptions by Dennis Onishi, I get very concerned that you would even consider these things, because we already have a 2008 piece in our law that makes it clear, and it seems to me that this would essentially override that and allow those things. Again, maybe it's a misinterpretation on my part, but as long as it says it here, except for not permitted, I don't see where it says not permitted for coffee, for example. And my read is that you're basically going backwards in time rather than forwards. And that's what I would hope. I understand county council members change, but I would hope that you would work from where we've worked so hard to get us. And this doesn't seem, these kinds of suggestions don't seem like a step forward of building upon the coffee and taro place that we started in 2008 with our opposition to GMOs. It seems like opening the door back up to everything's okay if it's done by university or state people. So I really would encourage you to not allow these kinds of variations to these kinds of modifications to the bill that you're considering, and I encourage you to vote in favor of it again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Waimea, do you have another testifier?
Yes, we have two more, Chair. The first one is Avi Oken, speaking for himself in support of Bill 113, Draft 2.
Yes, my name is Avi Oken. I've lived here in Waimea for a little over 10 years, and I've been blessed to be able to be in a place where the food that I can't grow is grown in organic or sustainable manner by the local farmers. I'm very lucky about that, and so are the people of Waimea. And I think the whole island people should be blessed with such a fortunate circumstance. There won't be a GMOs allowed. I support Bill 113. I don't support Mr. Nishi's amendments. I think they are tragic if they are ever passed. My background is as a chemist and as a physicist. I worked in air pollution for 30 years, and I worked with farmers. And the more I study about GMO and pesticides, the less I'm encouraged that they will do anything but poison our planet. And I don't want to see my little crops GMO'd by something in the air, just like the Kochis have moved up from everywhere, and they're getting everywhere, and we're trying hard to stop them. I don't think we need to bring in GMO and pesticides and spend time preventing them. I think we need to stop now. I appreciate your courage in bringing this up, facing the huge corporate budgets which can be presented against you, and the of the university and the state also having some vested interest in having GMO. I hope we do not have that vested interest. I support your courage in bringing up 113. I am for your passing it, and I'm against Mr. Nishi's amendments. Thank you very much.
Our next testifier is Dr. J.B. McGath, representing herself, speaking in support of Bill 113.
Aloha, Council, and again, thank you for your amazing courage. You know the whole world is watching here as you make this historic attempt to help the health of our people, our animals, and our land. If there's anyone who doubts that GMOs and pesticides are killing us, they just have to turn on the computer and see Dr. Don Huber, who's been in the military for 40 years, and talking about the disasters to our cattle who eat GMO foods, and see Dr. Stephanie Senes, Seeds of Truth, her lecture on Kauai, talking about how these pesticides and foods are killing us. They're killing our animals, and they're destroying our soil. Dr. Huber points out that you could ask people, dairymen who grow cattle, if they're eating the GMO corn, what's the infertility rate, the miscarriage rate, the birth defect rate, the premature aging of the meat, the gut disorders, the constant diarrhea and bowel inflammation of the animals. And in 2004, the USDA was asked to help in this area when the dairymen presented these facts. And worldwide literature now also confirms these facts, that the animals can't survive either eating the GMO foods. So I want you to pass 113. I don't want any amendments. I want you to find money. We've got the money to help our farmers who are using GMO, to help get rid of the GMO, and then grow the industry that heals, grow the industry that's going to restore our guts and restore our soils. Thank you so much again for this courageous, historic effort, and the whole world is watching as we do the right thing. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Hilo, do you have two more testifiers, please?
Yes, we do. The next testifier is Stephen Jacquier. He's in opposition to Bill 113 Draft 2. He'll be followed by Joy Cash, who supports the bill.
Hello, my name is Stephen Jacquier, and I'm about to become the most popular person in the room. Thank you for this opportunity to testify and explain why I feel compelled to oppose Bill 113 and support amendments exempting research. I am a father and grandfather and live on a farm in Puna, and I also do love this land and my children. As a scientist with decades of field and laboratory research experience all over the planet, it's my sense that we can definitely count on 2 points regarding GMO. The first is that there is a solidly constructive role for this technology in improving the quality of our lives in a sustainable economy. And the second is that corporate short-sightedness and greed can and will screw up any good thing, if not actively safeguarded against by policymakers and enforcers who are well-informed and not venal. GMO should not be synonymous with increased pesticide use, though it is generally being misused this way. Please let me be clear. I personally think Monsanto stinks, along with the rest of the big agro corporate biz. The conflation of GMO with corporate idiocy, such as herbicide-dependent strains and proprietary seeds, should not, however, shut down research into GMO technology. If we must pass Bill 113, then please make the compromise by adding the Communication 393.052 amendment so that carefully overseen research can continue. We will need it badly in years to come. We do not have many freshening arrows in our quiver when it comes to dealing with malnutrition, disease, and finding healthy alternatives to petrochemical-based agricultural chemicals. Research performed on Hawaii benefits poor populations in developing nations around the planet. I have visited villages in Nepal, Indonesia, and elsewhere where I met many children suffering severe visual impairment and blindness because of vitamin A deficiency. This crippling blindness is totally avoidable. Carrots and such like do not tend to grow well in tropical lowlands, being generally beset with fungi and pests in moist, warm environments. But splicing a carrot gene into locally grown rice totally transforms the situation. This is a laudable and appropriate application of GMO technology. I appreciate the concern of parents for their children, yet we can also have compassion for these other children elsewhere. A ban on GMO research is too blunt and crude an instrument to be usefully constructive and can do harm instead of good. Corporate misuse of GMO technology should be assumed and so guarded against, not being allowed to run amok as well at night without oversight and restraint. But there is great potential for healthier and more prosperous communities via judicious use of GMO technology. Alas, I wish my good friends and neighbors who support this bill were correct about GMO being necessary, but I honestly do not think the evidence supports this conclusion. And I do hope my friends are still my friends after I urge you to not throw the scientific research baby out with the dirty corporate bathwater. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Joy Cash, and I'm representing 7 generations of organic farmers, starting the ones I know about, personal stories of farming life started in Ireland many generations ago. You know, I'm sitting here for weeks listening to scientific, pseudo-scientific, GMO-funded scientific, and independent scientific studies. We've heard it all. And what it comes down for me is that, you know, I'm 65. I've survived 66 plus decades on the planet. And I think I have some common sense. And it's common sense to me. Well, let me step back to the scientific community for a moment, too. If you've ever been to a scientific conference, you know there's differences of opinion on almost every subject. So you can spend your whole life listening to different scientific views. But what it comes down for me is that if there is any chance of harming, doing irreparable harm to ourselves, to our land, air, water, reefs, and our children and our future generations, we must apply caution. We must stop. Technology can serve us, certainly. It can also do irreparable harm. And until we know that what we're doing with technology, let's not go there. And I find it extraordinarily arrogant of us in America to think that we know better than 64 countries in the world who've banned and labeled GMOs. How extraordinary of us. How exceptional of us. But there's over 90% of the American public want some limits placed on these products. I implore you to support. And I agree also with Corey Hayden's recommendations. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Pahua, do you have 2 more testifiers, please?
First, we have Mr. Dave Kaiser representing himself, and he'll be followed by Ms. Jane Whitefield, also representing herself, both in support of Bill 113.
Okay, my name's Dave Kaiser, and I also represent the incomparable Thunderbolt, who can't be here, but he would meow his support for Bill 113. Anyway, I support Bill 113, and I'm not too crazy about all the exemptions. As for the research, they can keep it in the laboratories and don't let it out in the field. That's what they've been doing in Oregon and other places where they've been contaminating the field without knowing, using us as their guinea pigs. Okay, now on to my irregularly scheduled, non-genetically modified testimony, which will be short. Anyway, what was that? Anyway, Monsanto claims that we need their GMO corn for our economy, but that I say horse pocky. Now, they need it for their economy, not ours. Well, she keeps pointing at me, I don't know what she's doing. Anyway, now, ask yourself this. Europeans have banned and burned so many of their corn crops. Why? I mean, was there something that we don't know? I mean, they had to have done it for a reason. And in reference to about the starving people in some of the countries, there was an African country, poor country, that rejected the GMO because they didn't want their people eating that gunk. I mean, they knew there's something to it. I had a neighbor in Riverside, California, when I was working for the Forest Service. And he must have had some kind of an endocrine disruption from this stuff, because a few years before I met him, he weighed 165 pounds, stood 5'9". And when I met him, he weighed 475 pounds. It was an incredible weight gain, and it had to have been just something triggered his system to go haywire. The man could eat 2 large pizzas. I mean, he just inhaled them. He'd been banned from all-you-can-eat places. That's just an example of what some of this stuff can do. But I'm fairly certain that it was a genetically modified something or other that got into his system. And that's what's probably happening to a lot of people. It's very curious. The first time I went into the VA clinic, I accidentally stumbled into the oncology ward, the waiting room, and I never expected to see that many people. So, I figure a lot of it has to be as a result of these genetically modified products. Well, anyway, I'm running out of time, so it's good time for me to stop yammering on. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Jane Whitefield, and I've lived in Pune for about 18 years.
I'm a botanist, and I've done a lot of work with plant genetics. I was surprised to see when I went into our local health food store a booklet showing 22 companies that are non-GMO, and this was very nice. And I'd like to read a couple of quotes out of it. GMOs are engineered with genes from bacteria and viruses to produce insecticide and survive heavy doses of herbicides. That's not healthy for us or the environment. And what Dave was saying too, more than 60 countries have either banned GMOs or have laws requiring them to be labeled. They don't trust GMOs. Why should we? Until and unless research proves it's safe, genetic engineering should be kept in a laboratory and out of our kitchens. And I'd like to say a couple of sentences from one of Jeffrey Smith. The title of this article is GMOs, Is the End Near? And this was about animals. And he says, when given a choice, cows, pigs, chickens, mice, rats, squirrels, ducks, magpies, deer, raccoons, dogs, and buffalo have all been seen choosing the non-GMO corn or soy. It's time we raised humans to the level of animals.
Thank you. I'm going to take a 5-minute recess, and when I come back, I'll check with Ka'u and bring up the next 3 people in Kona, which would be Shirlene Agelia, Esther Marshall, and Jason Moniz. So we'll take a 5-minute recess at this time and come back at 5:35.
Folksies, how we doing? Let's see, you have 49% battery, so we're gonna go plug in for a minute. Yeah, we're gonna go this way. Okay. Here we are. Okay, so how are we doing? Any questions? How are we doing? We're doing good. We are on our first potty break. We have lots of good testimony going on. I don't think they've done a count recently. There was about 50 when they first counted. And I think probably at least 20 or 30 more have signed up, so we are going to be here for a few hours.
Because I think our big issue is
pretty for certain. Let's see. Kauai is getting closer to a vote. Yay.
The biggest threat is that people go to the store and they don't realize that there's a high cost
Veto.
inexpensive.
Yes, no, I'm just checking in. Come on, check in.
The lady in the purple way across the room?
Yes?
Is Sharon Wilson.
Yes.
She wants to say hello. You can give her a hug when you get a moment.
She did.
Oh, she came by?
She came back.
Okay.
You, Miss Teacher! Do you know, right? Okay. Make sure we do introductions.
No, just in case, you know Chandel.
People ask the world
University. Okay. Yeah. We're all acquainted then. Who wants to say hi to the internet?
Huh?
Internet. Oh, say hello! Hello! Pass the bill! Pass the bill! Please.
Today we're gonna pass the bill.
Today. Today is the day. Tonight is the night.
Yep. So how late do you think you're gonna stay?
I don't know. How late am I gonna stay?
Well,
to the end. I'll stay. Yeah, as long as I got battery or I can plug in. I'll stay, but then I'm going home tonight and I'm gonna go to Hilo tomorrow.
Oh, because they have. Is this Amy?
Yeah.
Amy?
I don't know who that
New
is.
York Times, Amy?
No, really?
Find out. I think so.
Okay. Yes, let's find out.
What is that,
Margaret,
camera?
go ask Margaret.
She called 2 people, Nancy and Jeff, for interviews. I'm pretty sure that's who we're looking at.
Okay. Good job, Derek. Boy's on it. I scolded him. He will never let that happen again now.
You scolded him?
I said, keep talking. No, I scared him straight.
Oh, the other way.
I said, you go after those people and you get a goddamn interview and don't stop talking. Okay, GMO Forever over here. Okay. Sitting between Richard Ha and GMO Forever is our...
Yeah, we know.
What the hell is that? What is that? The girl.
Lori Farrell?
I don't know who she is.
Yeah,
She's the spiritual leader.
Oh.
She's the one that marched the people up the mountain.
Oh, Paul Case?
No, not Pua. No, the girl with the blowing the conch shell.
Oh. Are you looking at her? Or?
No, she's not in here right now.
Okay, you're talking about,
with the long, squirrely black hair.
Oh, I don't know.
And she was blowing the shell. She was on the Helco March.
I'm thinking that you're talking, are you talking about the one who goes with,
Gene Phobes.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
What is the Star Wars lady name?
Leia.
That's her name, Leia.
Do you know that I walked down the aisle at my wedding to the throne room scene? No, man, to the music.
No kidding.
Yes, I did. So Star Wars music. You listen to it. The first third Star Wars, at the end when they're getting their medals, sounds just like the wedding march.
No kidding.
So we used it.
Cute.
I think we have even had Chewie yelling in the background.
Photo op. Who is there? Can I see Paul, Havani, and who are they with?
They're from their Halau, I think. I don't know them. But I saw them here in a group testifying together last time. People are lined
Checking
up.
at the press table, see what's going on.
How's the press is going? Very well. Oh, does anybody want one of these? Somebody gave me these to hand out. You got one?
I
get one?
I did.
You get one?
I'll take an extra if you don't
There you
want.
go, yeah, go for it. And I only have 2 more to hand out.
Make sure
Almost
Derek gets one. I
done.
don't know
This
if
is
you got
Carrie
one.
Peterson
and Chandel.
this is Chandel.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Coffee Price.
Nice to meet you. Same here.
They could.
From either side.
Oh, from you came all
Should be
over
on my
me.
email list.
I don't like to take any extra paper.
I'm with you. I'm trying to give paper away left and right. I'm with you, baby.
Maybe it's soy inks and composting.
There you go.
Recycle paper.
And my product, I recycle everything,
Yeah.
so I have
We
a
can help. We can help.
That's what it is.
Hello, Donald.
Yeah.
Hello, Brent.
Right?
Hello, Jeff.
Try to put it down
Hello, everybody.
around the garden.
We're plugged in and
I mean, we
charging
just can't get away from screwing
while
up
we're on potty
China
break.
because if you
we're
stay
doing.
with just paper,
We are
you'd be
at
on a recycling
53%.
thing.
All right.
There's no bigger
10 more percent than we had when we
environmental
sat
hazard to the world than
Oh, I know.
broken down computers at the dumps.
I know.
Poison.
And they come out with new
So if you
ones
go
so
digital,
fast, then it's, yeah, it's
when you go digital,
They have
you
the
no
new
choice.
one before you bought your brand new one. The next new one's already ready for you. I know, it's insane.
2 weeks ago, and then they came out with.
Yeah, the phones are the worst.
The average laptop lasts like 2.5 years.
Yep.
Imagine that multiplied by 1 billion people that probably use it.
And I think that they build in software that makes them die.
I think so too. Yeah, they do.
Because they just start getting really slow, and it doesn't matter what kind of software you use.
Computer makers are the mafia of the electronic world.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Well, we know it's not a gene, right? I mean, at least not yet. We haven't figured out how to put genes into electronic devices. Although I did see something today that says that they have figured out how to identify electronically when you're calculating numbers. And so what that means is that eventually they'll be able to, not they, they'll be able to identify, so for a stroke patient who can't speak, that they can think something, and we can decode the electronic signal and translate that into voice.
That's cool.
Which is incredible. What? Right, exactly. Exactly. That's what some of the amazing applications are. But of course, then there are the people who say, well, then you can, program people's minds, and you can read people's minds and use that against them, and and that's kind of the danger of any discovery.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that sinister way to use it.
But would it flow both ways? I mean,
exactly.
I don't think so.
If they can figure out how to identify it, then they can figure out
how to put it in.
Okay. Absolutely.
Oh no. Because that would be amazing for aphasics. There's lots of people that can't speak for all kinds of reasons. Wow.
I have
That's our 60-second warning? Or something? Okay. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to stay plugged in for a minute.
I'm going to call the meeting back to order at this time and check with Ka'u and make sure. Ka'u, do you have any other testifiers?
Sorry.
Ka'u? Excuse me, recess.
Hello, Gila, can you hear us? Can Gila hear Kona?
Hi, Jeff.
Okay, now can Ka'u hear us? I'm speaking in Kona. Can Ka'u hear Kona?
I can hear you here, Ka'u.
Okay, stand by.
Okay.
We're out of recess, and I'm going to ask Ka'u, do you have any other testifiers?
No, Madam Chair, we do not have any other testifiers at this moment.
Please let me know if you have any that do want to testify.
Will do, thank you.
And then here in Kona, Shirley? I couldn't hear you. I'm getting a little closer. I don't think it's on. Is the light shining? Hello? I'm Shirley. I'm from Erie. Can you get this closer to you? Close? Yes. We're just making more towards you. Okay. Hello, I'm Shirley. I'm from Erie. I'm here to share Erie with you with GMO. What they did in Erie, the seed they sent to Erie, the MVP is the movement of Paysan papaya. They burn the seed with Shaban Shabbatist. What they did, they burn the seed. They do a big manifestation of an Erie, and all the people together, and then they burn them. For you here in US, your responsibility is to protect your land. Over there in Erie is what we do. We protect our land over there, and AD represents a gift for GMO because they can't cost to go in AD to do it. My suggestion for you is to do the same, because your land is your hurt. It's your hurt. You should protect your plant, your land. I come here to support because I like that the movement like plants, and I come to share my idea with you what they did in Haiti. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jason Louise.
I'm Dr. Jason Louise, and for the past 32 years, my work has been preventing the introduction and controlling and eradicating the animal diseases. I'm also a rancher and current resident of Homeville Farmville. Bill 113, Draft 2 continues to discriminate against many and Troy County multi-generational farmers and ranchers by proposing to disallow the use of deregulated GMO crops and technologies legally available to farmers and ranchers in counties throughout the state and nation. This technology has been proven safe, has already benefited Hawaii County farmers and livestock producers, and provides the means to control new diseases and improve agricultural efficiency in the future. The stated purpose of Bill 113 is to protect Hawaii's non-genetically modified crops and plants from genetically modified organisms cross-pollination. We had 6 months of testimony and discussion on the subject. I have not heard of a single proven case of cross-pollination in Hawaii. GMO production has been occurring in the state for almost 2 decades. 2 individuals have indicated to me that their non-GMO papaya were cross-pollinated, but when asked how it was investigated and verified, the indication was given that any effort was made to substantiate the accusations. Given the repeated explanation of papaya experts as to the difficulty to cross-pollination to occur, and the method that papaya displays a high degree of suspicion to the claim of cross-pollination, even the current bill acknowledges the risk of papaya cross-pollination. Other stated purposes of the bill is to protect indigenous plants from cross-pollination, to preserve Hawaii Island's unique and vulnerable ecosystem, prevent the transfer and uncontrolled spread of genetically engineered organisms onto private property, public lands, and rivers. Again, the GMO crops on multiple islands for almost 2 decades, no genetic transfer of uncontrolled spread of genetically engineered organisms has occurred. There may have been due to a high degree of regulation already in place by state and federal level that regulates the development and approval of these products before deregulation. Bottom line is, this bill is having run through multiple amendments that repeatedly failed to prove that its purpose is supported by facts, and yet it pushes forward with draconian measures still to affect our farmers and ranchers who choose to use approved technology to farm and ranch. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum, my name is Helena Mills, and I am in support of Bill 193. I'm from the Lyman District, and I didn't speak tonight, but I'm very thankful to be here in front of all of you. I am a Native woman who I'm from this place, and was raised in the values of my people, my Indian people, that have had a connection, oneness with our land, that had working off of water systems, and had a proverb that says, Heli ikaina, hekawa hikanuka. The land is the chief and we are the servants. And we have forgotten that. It's become backwards. We live in a society that is backwards. We're not listening anymore to the land. The land speaks to us. We don't know where our winds go anymore. We can't feel that. What about the vibration, the tonal vibration, the resonant tone of the earth? We're not listening anymore to the divine connection that we have. It's from spirit. It's from Creator. That is so much bigger than us. And we are all native to some place. We have native blood that runs through us, every single one of us here. And I really want to say, let's connect back into that. Because our land is screaming, we're killing our planet. We don't have another place to go. We're the only species that pays to live here. We are just seeing how backwards and how far away we are from our Moli, from our power. And so I'm just saying, please look at this bill and connect back to yourself. Connect back to your children, the children that are to come. We cannot leave this place worse than we found it. It's our responsibility to leave it better than we found it. Let's take action, all of us, because this is our love, our Mother Earth. We would not treat our mothers with the same disdain and disrespect, would we? I feel like we're doing that now, every single one of us. And now there's a turn and there's a shift. And so I'm asking you to shift with all of us. Pass this bill. Mahalo nui. I'm just going to remind everybody that I know this is an emotional topic, but please try and keep it down. Waimea, do you have two more testifiers?
Good evening, Chair. We have one more currently. Her name is Amanda Reu. She represents herself and Nala'ai, the Culinary Garden of Waimea Middle School, and she's speaking in support of Bill 113, Draft 2.
Good evening. Thank you so much for hearing my testimony. I've worked now for almost a decade as an educator with students and land around the culture and around our food here in Hawaii. And I'm here this evening to ask you to please support Bill 113, Draft 2 as it is, really to protect our land. I think Hamani mentioned Aloha Aina. This is our mother, it's our land, and we don't know what the long-term results of genetically modified crops are. And while we can say in Hawaii we don't know that they've started to cross-pollinate, we do know that on the mainland there are things called superweeds that are coming up. You can see them all over the New York Times. Anywhere you look in the media, you'll find information about it. So that genetically modified crops have started to cross-pollinate with weeds in the fields which are prevalent nearby, and they're no longer therefore respondent to the herbicide. So we know that those kinds of mutations are happening over time. When you release a life form, it will go out into the world and try to perpetuate itself, and that will include evolution over time. And that's why we know there's data to show that there is cross-pollination over time, and if we give it enough time, it will happen. If we can support this bill, we can protect the land in Hawaii, we can protect our food in the future and our children, and we can also set a precedent in the nation and perhaps in the world of protecting our land and keeping this out. You know, we're behind in the United States at protecting ourselves from genetically modified crops, particularly food crops. We in this island have an ability and a chance to actually move ourselves forward and to set a precedent. And there are ways that people can make real livings and continue to be farmers without using genetically modified crops. I really ask that you support this bill for our kids, for our land, and our future here. Thank you so much for hearing me this evening. Aloha.
Thank you. Okay, back to Hilo. Can I have your next two testifiers, please?
Our next two testifiers are Larry Jering. He has a comment and is in opposition to the bill, followed by Jeffrey Kern, who is in support of the bill.
Good afternoon, Council, and Larry Jering here, Hilo. Thank you for this opportunity. There's so much wrong with this bill, so much wrong with the testimony that we heard. I want to give kudos to all those who have testified, though, because it is the democratic way to get things done. But there have been so many fallacies, so many wrong statements. It's almost inexcusable. Both organic and GMO products have existed on shelves, store shelves, in Iowa, Minnesota, Indiana, Illinois for years. Iowa being, and the Midwest being the epicenter of GMO products for at least 50 years. I would suggest that some of the anti-GMO people actually go visit the Midwest. Go visit some place where there's real GMO people, you know. I'm 71 years old. I've eaten every kind of GMO product there is, and my health is as good as anybody in this council, anybody in this state, and anybody any place. And it'll be just as good, or just as healthy for the next 50 years, period. Ignorance and hysteria will cause more health issues than GMO. Add in the volcanoes, illegal drugs, prescriptions. There's a bunch of that, and incest. Throw that in the state of Hawaii. That's going to cause more health issues. Ignorance and hysteria.
Mr. Gary, hold on 1 second.
Yes.
People in the audience, please be respectful of everyone's opinion. This is the place where we welcome different opinions, and we need to be respectful of everyone. So, Mr. Gary, we're going to reset your time. We just had some issues with order here in Kona, so we're going to ask you to start again, Mr. Gary. Go ahead, reset your time.
Okay, thank you. But ignorance and hysteria.
Excuse me, hold on 1 second. Recess.
Reset? Recess?
We need to maintain order, but please, we have to be respectful to everyone, okay? Whether you agree or disagree, we want to move forward. We've been through this for a long time. We're all tired. We want to listen to all the ideas. Please be respectful.
I'll try.
Breathe. Is there an issue? No, because if someone wants to talk about something, please. Is there an issue with anyone here about the way we're handling the meeting? Let me know. Because we need to be fair with everyone. So.
I just feel that I'm disrespected by this donation.
I'm sorry, taking a 5 quick recess.
First time I testified, he was actually too. So this is very emotional. This is talking about genocide at this time. Okay, thank you very much.
Are we ready, Jeff? Okay, I'm going to call the meeting back to order now. And I'll take a quick minute just to try and explain proper decorum during our meetings. We know this is an emotional issue, and we appreciate that you've taken so much time out of your life to come here. And I would just ask that if you want to express anything, we have allowed the silent applause, and that's fine. But please keep your other comments inside right now, because we just need to keep professional decorum here, and we're trying to run the meeting as effectively and efficiently as we can. So, if anybody has any other questions.
Yes, we have a question.
Okay.
Hi, with respect to everyone here, Mr. Onishi here is showing us no respect by not being present. I have spent 30 minutes, and that's disregarding the recess that he's been absent from.
And he did let me know that he had a previously scheduled meeting that he was going to be gone for about a half an hour. But that's
normal.
Not anything that can really force him to stay here. So.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. He notified us that he had another mission. So.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't state that earlier. And then Ms. Ford reminded me that Mr. Gehring can start his testimony over, but to please, I'm going to ask you to please leave out any inflammatory language, and just keep it as professional as you can. Okay. We'll start your time over.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What's inflammatory, though, that's always a state of suspense. Anyhow, the GMO education event that was sponsored by the creators of this bill here in Hilo was more hysteria, because there were 90% of the testifiers were anti-GMO, and very few. They made no effort to bring in any audio, video, or testifiers that from the Midwest region or any place. Any Farm Bureau members or 4-H members or anybody else that would help explain the other side and to give it a balanced hearing. And the clown from Arizona never acknowledged that organic food can have as many health issues as GMO. And organic pesticide is as lethal as anything produced by Monsanto. The guy from Arizona has been discredited by 10 agencies, but the biggest disgrace of that event was a lack of pro-GMO people for a balanced debate. Millions have lived with GMO products with no known illnesses related to GMO. There again, go back to the Midwest. Talk to the people who've been living with GMO, eating GMO, pork, beef, chicken, all kinds of products for 50 years. Go back and talk to those folks. My choice to eat what I want is my choice, and should not be dictated by a 9-member council that is uneducated, inexperienced, has no real knowledge of farming, and no business experience in farming, and forgets that choice is how you were elected. Nor should a council dictate that I spend more money for food if I'm only allowed to buy organic and not GMO. That's not your decision, folks. And it's not your decision, should not be your decision, to tell farmers what they can grow, what they can't grow. I'm 71 years old. My health is as good as anybody in this state, period. And my family's health. I've had many relatives live to be over 100. GMO products, right down the line. GMO is sustainable. Organic is not sustainable. Take a look at their 2008 ban on the coffee GMO council, and that little coffee board is just having a ball. Just having a ball. He's chewed through hundreds of acres of coffee beans. If you're upset with Roundup, ban the spraying of the pesticide. It's not that hard to do. If chemicals are your concern, kick out Roundup. Don't let anybody use it in the state or the county. But put it on the ballot for 2014. If that's it. Thank you for your time.
I'm going to move to Pahoa now. Pahoa, do you have 2 more testifiers?
We have one more here, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, but after Mr. Jerry, we did have Mr. Jeffrey Kern to speak in support of the bill.
Okay, I'm sorry. You can go ahead, please, sir.
Hey, my name is Jeffrey Kern. I'm an organic farmer down in Puna. Thank you very, very much for taking up this bill. This is a historic moment, and the young woman, mother of 3 earlier in Kona, Courtney, speaks absolutely for me. She speaks about the long-term trajectory of these technologies. Can I address that a bit? there was a gathering of over 70 nations. Dow and Monsanto were both at the table, called the International Assessment of Agricultural Science and Technology for Development. In 2008, took up this issue and looked at what are our children and our grandchildren in the world going to be eating in 2050? What's it going to look like? Well, basically, their conclusion by the end of that meeting was that we need to move away from increasingly expensive petroleum-based industrial agriculture towards diversified, local, organic, and sustainable farming methods if the world is going to be able to feed itself by then. The oil and its resultant chemicals and transportation is running out and is getting more expensive, as the papaya farmers, I'm sure, will tell you. They also noted that the patenting of seeds and cross-pollination issues present significant obstacles to these local autonomy outcomes. So although biotechnology may play a minor role in the future, this is basically what we're looking at with the world. Let's go to the Union of Concerned Scientists, 2009, failure to yield. They had looked at the 20-year record, not 50 like the previous gentleman, of GM, looked at the data, the facts, and basically concluded that, quote, genetic engineering has actually done very little to increase the yields of food and feed crops. Given such a track record, it appears unlikely that this technology will play a leading role in helping the world feed itself in the foreseeable future. A little bit of very recent information. I've got a book, America's Two-Headed Pig. This is 2013 by a school teacher. She's the daughter of a vet in the Midwest. It's a crisis on the mainland, folks. It's coming. You look at what's happening on the farms, and they're just about going out of business with their pigs and their cows having such high infertility rates. Is that the end of my time? Oh, 30 more seconds. Okay, so in addition, now on the mainland, MDs prescribing non-GM diets to their patients who are suffering from leaky gut syndrome, irritable bowel, gut and psychology syndrome, and it's clearing it up. So yeah, it's crisis on the mainland. It's just right around the corner. You dig into the local. In conclusion, I support the passage of Bill 113 as is, without any of the Oneshi amendments. I hope that Margaret has a real good reason for her own amendment, but I think it's great just as it stands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to go to Pahoa. Pahoa, do you have two more testifiers? And while we're doing that, and before you start, I'll ask the next three in Kona to please come forward. And Auntie Elizabeth Lee, you can come forward. Mary Leigh Drake and Mr. Richard Hall. You have a seat at the testifier table while Pahoa is taking their next two testifiers. Go ahead, Pahoa.
First, we have Mr. Olson, that's myself. Following that will be Ms. Bobby Raymond, also representing herself, both in support of the.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Tom, this is good. First, I'd like to thank you and please.
I'm sorry. Continue, please.
Okay, we're starting over. Good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you. I know it's been a long day for you, council people, and I appreciate it. I suppose that having sat here and listened to testimony for a number of days, as you have, the things that strike me is that, first off, it isn't up to me to prove or disprove. Questions have been raised, not only here, but throughout the world, about GMO and its consequences. It's up to them to disprove these things. And when they refuse to answer the questions, my response is, I'm not here to be a lab rat for you. I think that, kind of covers it as far as this bill is concerned, and our concern that they not do testing there. And if they do it, what testing they do in a secure facility. My only experience personally with the GMO science was I was the citizen rep to the Papaya Administrative Council. That was a federal marketing order back in the 90s. I was there because I was not a farmer, and I simply sat and listened to the GMO make their presentation to the farmers. Back in the early 90s, papaya was selling for $1 a pound off the back of the truck. Today, it's 25 cents a piece at the farmer's market. If that's what it's going to bring us, if that's their measure of success, we can't afford it. So, I hope this bill goes through, 113, as it is amended, without any further amendment. Thank you.
Just restate your name. Good evening, I'm Bobby Raymond. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I live here on the island part of the time, and my son and grandson live here all the time. I'm here to say that I support Bill 113, draft number 2, with no exceptions. For several months, I've watched Council Member Margaret Willie provide a fair approach to how to deal with genetically controlled organisms. I think she has succeeded in finding a way to deal with the problem. People here deserve choices and the chance to grow truly organic plants. I would like to see this island be representative of a full term in this direction. I support a GMO-free island, a GMO-free island in Hawaii.
Thank you very much. Now we'll hear Kona and Elizabeth. Are you ready?
Hello, my name is Auntie Elizabeth. I already introduced myself. And I am here. I'm not afraid of the GMO. It's not natural. And this is something that I don't feel right, because I was raised in Hawaii, in Kona, all natural. We didn't use all this thing until the poison came in. Everything has changed, you know. We're living real natural, all weeds from the ground. This is all what we put in our carrots and sweet potatoes and stuff like that. Coffee as well, you know. We all picked up the Kona coffee. The real Kona coffee is not the coffee that was brought in. You know, the coffee that was brought in, it was from somewhere else. The wheat was brought in for the ranchers to feed the cattle, and that's why we have lots of this kind of, you know, weird weeds that we are having. Acorns, we never had acorns before, you know, but today we have so much acorn, you know, and then the seed from that spread around, the seed from the molasses grass is spread around, and we never had that before. So I'm so upset, because now we plant our vegetables, and it doesn't grow like how we used to. We have to, you know, find the soil, and also we have to use fertilizer, which we didn't think until now to find out that fertilizer is not unhealthy to the body. So this is my, you know, I hate to speak for today, and I'm sorry to be, you know, disappointed about this GMO. Okay.
Thank you very much. Marianne?
Good afternoon, council members and general public. My name is Mary Leigh Drake, and I represent the Kona Theater Preservation Society, and we are in support of Bill 113. Excuse me. I'm here today because I'm frightened for my life. Last April, I went to Kona Urgent Care for what was first called a large zit, then a boil, and then most frighteningly of all, assist. Luckily that all worked out. But at the time I went, my blood pressure was taken, and my systolic blood pressure was at 220, and my diastolic was over 100. I was put on blood pressure medication and ordered to take a battery of tests, including an ultrasound and blood work. The doctor told me that if I didn't take medication and lose weight, I was 246 at that time, that I would be dead in 3 or 4 years. I had 10 days until I started my tests. I immediately went on an all raw, no salt, no sugar diet. I lived on what I called the A's: asparagus, avocado, and ahi, supplemented with greens and spinach and seaweed. All my test results were surprisingly good. Slightly fatty liver, but well, sometimes, and I love rich fatty foods, and I like to cook, but I'm changing that. I didn't stay on my all raw diet exclusively, but I did make 2 significant changes. I'm eventually pretty much eliminating all genetically modified foods, or nothing packaged. My motto is, if it grows or it swims, I'll eat it. And I also started growing my own produce. I harvest eggplant, oranges, star fruit, spinach, kale, greens, and all kinds of herbs. Sometimes I'll eat grass-fed beef or organic eggs, but I don't do wheat products except for Italian pasta because it's not genetically modified. I still have a long way to go, especially as I look at the camera. But my question is to everybody, how is it that some mainland company can make me growing my own food illegal? We don't need GMO. You as a council have a chance to change the course of the world. Everyone is watching Hawaii and the Big Island now. Don't you want your great-great-grandchildren to look back and say that my ancestor was not afraid? They did not give in to bullying and intimidation. They saved us.
Thank you. It's your time.
I'm Richard High. I've been a farmer for 35 years, farming bananas and hydroponic tomatoes. During this time, we have grown more than 100 million pounds of food. And now we're a few weeks away from putting in a hydroelectric generator that will take us completely off the grid. And the whole point is it's about adapting to change. That's what we're doing. The most significant thing that has happened during my career is that in the last 10 years, last 10 years, oil prices quadrupled. And what happened there was farmers' costs rose with it. And farmers are price takers, not price makers, so they can't pass on the cost. We do not grow GMOs ourselves. And I don't have any financial interest in any biotech company. I'm just concerned about how we will adapt to change. Darwin said it's not the strongest nor the smartest that survive, rather it's the one that can adapt to change. Conventional farmers on the Big Island are getting hurt in this GMO crossfire. We're not the Monsanto, we don't really care about them because they're big boys and girls. But inadvertently, the small farmers are the conventional farmers are getting hurt in this crossfire. This bill criminalizes our small farmers and will raise their cost of production. It will discourage farmers from farming, and this will threaten our food security in the future. Bill 113 cites the precautionary principle. All the major scientific organizations in the world say that GMO foods are safe. Hawaii has the longest life expectancy for senior citizens in the whole country. Yet we are willing to ignore the effect of rising food costs on the most defenseless among us. These are the people on fixed income, single moms, the working homeless, the rubber slipper folks. Hector Valenzuela, last council meeting, advised the organic farmers to seek high in niche markets. He knows that organics is the cost of production is very high, so that's why he advocates for that. But that what that does, that high cost of food, is not going to take care of the rubber slipper folks. And if we pass this bill and then the regular farmers discourage their kids from going into farming, where is the cheap food going to come from? I guess that more than 90% of the food calories produced on the Big Island is grown by conventional farmers. I just want to say that I'm against this bill. Thank you.
No, your next two testifiers, please.
Our next testifier is Moani Kiala Akaka, who is in support of the bill, followed by Russell Ludeman, who is also in support of the bill.
I'm Aloha. My name is Moani Kiala Akaka. I'm with the Aloha Education Center. I'm in support of Bill 113 with the amendments brought up by Corey Harden. But also, Onishi's amendments are no good. You know, I'm very, very concerned about home rule, and Yukon council persons are in that role right now. We know what is good for our Aina, like Kauai people know what's good for Kauai. On the state level, anti-GMO bills were held hostage by Representative Cliff Suji for years while he was chair of the House Agricultural Committee as he was bought and paid for with donations from the GMO lobbyists. Finally, last session, new chair of the House Agricultural Committee, Jessica Woolley, was able to get a GMO labeling bill out of the House into the Senate. If GMO is as safe as their industry says it is, well then label it. What are you afraid of? The state AG office wisely is not taking a position and will not challenge 113 if it is passed by our county, on the county level by our county council. While Senator Malama Solomon, who has received donations from the GMO industry, Syngenta, Monsanto, and Dow, swears the donations will not impact her vote, that's a laugh. Solomon mentions the Farm Bureau, yet Dean Okimoto, the president of the Farm Bureau, one of the biggest advocates for GMO, is already bought and paid for by the GMO industry. Although the headline of his editorial in yesterday's Advertiser Star Bulletin says, restricting GMO farming would hurt sustainability efforts. That's a farce. He would rather grow houses at Ho'opili, which is 13% of the richest agricultural land on Oahu, instead of food, as would Russell Kokubon, Big Island, used to be farmer, then senator, now head of the Department of Agriculture, who is also for the Ho'opili development, to grow houses, not food for the island. We need home rule. It's up to you, our county council persons, to protect this island by passing 113. We've already seen how the state has thus far failed us for years. Please pass 113 for the sake of our present and future generations. I'm a mother and grandmother. Mahalo nui loa, aloha no.
Thank you. Next testifier, please.
Aloha. My name is Russell Luderman. I'm testifying in support of Bill 113, Draft 2. By the way, I have a degree in biology and a career in the food industry. I want to thank you for the opportunity to testify, for considering this bill, and for those who have worked to get it so far. I mostly want to speak just about some of the political issues. It seems to me that this has been the highest turnout of any issue we've ever seen at the county council. We had one hearing, I think it was 200 people came out. I have not seen it analyzed, but I think it's the highest turnout we've ever seen.
Can you speak up just a little bit? We're having a hard time hearing.
Thank you. What does the high turnout, what does that tell us? I'm here to say that the concern over GMOs is growing exponentially in this country. It's not, compared to 2 years ago, it's not 10% more, it's not twice, it's 10 times what it was 2 years ago. And that's a worldwide growing trend. I think there are a few, and maybe only this one, litmus test issues that is, that voters will decide based on your one vote. But I believe this is an issue that your vote will be remembered on. And I'm not saying that because it's my idea, it's a fact. Secondly, I'd like to say that this is not about papaya. I support papaya farmers 100%. Many of them are in my district. I know papaya farmers who do not oppose this bill. But there are some self-appointed representatives of the papaya farmers who object to this bill for theoretical reasons, where some of the rest of us are advocating for this for tangible, real reasons. It's not about papaya. It's about Monsanto, Dow, and other chemical companies who care not at all about our RNA and what they would do if allowed. Thirdly, please do not dilute the bill with amendments that are proposed by its opponents. That's very cynical. I think you know how that would be perceived. This is October 15th. This is the anniversary of a big earthquake here on this island. And what's happening, what you guys are doing here today is also earth-shaking. This is a big deal. This is very important. We are very proud of you. Those of us who have been watching this, we're very proud of you, and you will be applauded nationally for the bold action you take here on the island. Please represent the will of the people, not of corporations. Please pass this bill. There is no physical or economic downside, only benefits. It's the will of the people, including your constituents, and it's the right thing to do, as you've clearly heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pahoa, your next two testifiers, please.
First, I have Ms. Helene Love representing herself. Following her is Ms. Kristen Wynn, also representing herself, both in support of Bill 113.
Excuse me, how many
Hi, thank you for meeting this evening. I say yes to Bill 113, Draft 2, and oppose Onishi's amendments, forcing genes of one species into another and changing the DNA of plants is not natural and could turn out to be a huge danger, similar to nuclear disasters of our planet that we can't put out. Americans have the right to know what we are eating and what we will be feeding future generations of our children. What created the papaya ring spot virus to begin with? Did the past heavy use of herbicides and insecticides create the ring spot virus? Now, what chemicals will be needed to prevent other issues that may come up with rainbow papaya? Farmers are some of the hardest dedicated workers on earth. They already know how to work with nature, as in past centuries we grew using the natural order of farming plants, rotating crops, and revitalizing our soils. Politicians in the FDA have been totally lax while big corporation monies keep them in office. FDA left it up to Monsanto and other chemical companies to run this DNA, food, and chemical regime, making investors rich and ignoring the scientific reports that came in and the importance of these independent studies. The FDA hired Mike Taylor, who was a lawyer for Monsanto, then vice president of the company, and became head of FDA. GMOs have been found to be inherently dangerous. Scientists were ignored, big corporation monies bribed our governments, and now it's funneled down to individuals, city, county, state levels. We need to take back our government. It is our constitutional right to know what we are eating and what we've been spraying on our soils for decades. It's been proven that GMOs, hormones, and antibiotics given to animals damage both human and animal organs, produce allergies, infertility, can put holes in GI tracts, multiple organ failures, new diseases, immune system failures, birth defects, more types of cancers. What are they turning us into? Zombie-type diseased robots while few mongrels collect the money and eat their genetically modified food mutations and take their drugs. Using tons of herbicides and chemicals on our land prevents the plants from taking up the proper nutrients. They may look good but devoid of nutrients. We don't want to cross-pollinate all our seed stocks and contaminate the 10 to 15% original seed stocks left that hard-working farmers collected over the past 100 years. We mess with the remaining seed stocks, they are gone forever. And it is not possible to change GMO seeds back to Mother Nature's grown seeds. GMO yields are less, not more. GMO plants have created over 40 new plant diseases, so we can go out and buy more of the corporation's newly created chemicals. No GMO plant can survive without insecticides. Scientists say the earth is now going into a rapid extinction.
So before your next testifier gets started, can you let us know how many more you have after the next person?
And this time we have 12 more testifiers here in Paula. We have 12 following our next testifier. Will you give me a 30-second warning that you address? Okay, great.
Is there a microphone on or? Okay, you can
Hi, my name is. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Aloha, my name is Kristen O'Gwen. I'm from down Kalapana Way. I've been on the island for almost 10 years now. I am against GMOs on our island and in support of Bill 113. I'm in support of any amendment that prohibits GMO corn and even papayas. I am against any of Council Member Onishi's proposed amendments to the bill. I am not opposed to genetically modified organisms in theory, but the way it's happening in the world now is destructive, and I'm incredibly opposed to that. I moved to Hawaii in big part because I wanted to live in a place where it's the way of the people to honor the land. One reason I'm against GMOs is because we should not be poisoning the Aina with the horrible poisons of the pesticides and fertilizers that are required for GMOs. I also do not want greedy mainland companies coming over and exploiting the Aina, which they will do if they are allowed to. Another reason is because I don't want the poison in our bodies, and I'm sure that's already been talked about a lot. I want to say I have a lot of compassion for farmers of GMO papayas and other farmers who are concerned about their livelihood. I understand and I feel for them. At the same time, we cannot sacrifice the Aina and people's health because people want to cling to a way of doing things that is toxic and doesn't make sense. I'm not sure why people are not more concerned about the health effects of GMOs and their byproducts. Either way, allowing GMOs help people. Monsanto is everything can't reproduce. So the farmers have to buy new seeds every year. I don't want to see our farmers give up their control to Monsanto. I don't want to see our Aina give it to Monsanto, our Dow, etc. And our farmers who want to do GMO, I encourage you to look at farmers around the world who've had experience with GMOs. If GMOs were to be allowed, who will protect our farmers and our Aina against Monsanto and other GMO bullies? What I would love is to see our farmers be empowered to have a livelihood that is ethical and safe. I'd love for them to have support from us in whatever ways, and I'm happy for my tax dollars to go to them for this as they transition to sustainable farming. It's not this bill bill that's dividing communities. It's the dangers of GMO that is having an effect. And really, I'm grateful to farmers, and I want us all to feel like we are in this together and to see us prohibit GMOs and take care of our farmers. Zendo Kern, thank you for the way you voted. I hope you vote that way again. Gregor Illigan, you need to represent your people and vote against GMOs. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to just check with Hilo to see how many more testifiers there are in Hilo.
We have 11 more testifiers.
11, and there's 12 in Pohoa. That's 23. I have about 23 here as well. I'm going to continue on with testimony till about 7, and then I'm going to poll the council members to see what we should do. And I wanted to get through the testimony this evening, and I did allow 3 minutes for everybody, but I'm just going to throw this out here. You can have 3 minutes, but if you can summarize your statement effectively in less than 3 minutes, we would really appreciate it so we can get through as many people as possible. So, okay. Here in Kona, I'd like to bring up Mariah Ben Joseph, Lori Farrell, and Steve Sakala. Mariah, you can go ahead.
Aloha, I'm here and I support Bill 113 without omission amendments. Mariah Ben Joseph, and I'm representing my husband Kanan Ben Joseph and my daughter Safia. I am a mother, and it is hugely important to me that I know that I have done everything that I can to make sure that this place is safe for my child, and I do not feel safe with genetically modified organisms anywhere near her or any of her grandchildren or her children. So I please ask you to pass this bill. Thank you.
Aloha, Madam Chair, council members. My name is Lori Farrell. I come before you today as a single mother, an advocate, a former farmer. I'm the granddaughter of a rancher and a farmer. I'm here for my family and Hawaii's farmers. Hawaii Island has been my family's home since I was 12 years old. I strongly oppose Bill 113. Supporters of 113 want to do away with modern farming in Hawaii. They're trampling on science, violating the rights of farmers, and ignoring how science and technology saved Hawaii's papaya industry. Papayas are one of Hawaii's great crops. During the 1990s, however, the farmers almost lost everything due to the ring spot virus. It became impossible to grow this fruit without the scientific advances of biotechnology. Today, Hawaii's papaya industry has recovered, and virtually all papayas grown in Hawaii are GM crops. The industry is thriving, not dying. Advocates of this damaging bill claim the ban exempts papayas, but the legislation imposes so many restrictions on papayas that farming them will become impractical. They are farmers, not criminals. The criminals are the perpetrators of the eco-terrorism attacks against Hawaii's farmers. Registering farmers will only increase these attacks. For family farmers on our island, however, there is a crisis presented by 113. It denies freedom of choice. Why should farmers be forced to defend their life's work in public under adversarial conditions against people who do not feed Hawaii? The fuel everyone used to get here today was produced by a farmer using the exact same technology that this bill seeks to ban. This bill will increase our imported food and decrease our food security. Vote no on 113 based on facts, not fear. 113 is about our future of farming in Hawaii. A ban on biotechnology will have a negative effect on our ability to grow food. Public policy should be based on sound evidence, but difficult issues such as this contain social science, not just the facts. It becomes cloudy, and we must find a way to clear the air, open discussion, and make a good policy. There's no shame in our farmers growing affordable, safe food at prices that we can feed our families. The fundamental issue at hand is coexistence of GMO crops, non-GMO crops, and organic farming operations. No one disputes that we need further discussions between farmers. Cross-pollination is a farming practice, and it's manageable. Papaya farmers in Puna are coexisting today. It is a reality, not a myth.
Fact, not one organic farmer has ever lost his certification due to contamination. GMO crops and organic crops can coexist peacefully. Farmers have been doing this for decades. Proponents of this bill want you to believe that GMOs threaten Hawaii's biodiversity and traditional farming. But this is not true. GMO crops have reduced pesticide use and enhanced soil and water quality. Fact is, this bill will impact $250 million in agriculture economics on the community in many ways. Next. I believe we should do what is right and start a task force or pass a study bill, and that conversation should take place among stakeholders and agriculture people, including all types of farmers. Let's come to the table with openness, intolerance, integrity, and aloha. I'm asking you to vote no on 113.
Is Steve Sakala here? No, okay. Lucas Comby? State your name and your opinions.
Hello. Hey. You guys have heard from me before. My name is Lucas Cambick. I study agroecology at UH-Hilo, and I work in a small biotech lab on campus. So you can guess the side I'm taking on this issue. But I get the bill's passed, I guess, and it's democracy, and that's cool. But I'm going to take this opportunity to clear a few things up. Not all GMOs are created equal. We're trying to make virus-resistant plants in the lab I work in, much like the papaya. The papaya has been through massive testing. It's now sold in Japan. It took 12 years. They're very picky about their food. Just couldn't find anything harmful about it. And American Medical Association, the World Health Organization, and the European Commission all state that GMO foods are safe for human consumption. Now, I guess it's possible they're all paid off, the big biotech, but Monsanto has less yearly revenue than Staples office supplies. I don't think they have that much weight to corrupt all those people. That's like saying that those organizations, the World Health Organization, all those people just don't care. They're harming people's health. Now, last month, a report was released by the Hawaii State Department of Health that cancer rates on Kauai are lower than the rest of the state of Hawaii, and they've been dropping for the past 10 years, while GMO plantings have increased. I challenge anyone in this room to explain that, unless they're paid off too. I just can't. Anyway, I understand the desire to keep large companies buying up large amounts of land and using heavy fertilizer, pesticide, intensive farming practices. We can pass a bill that prevents that without preventing results of public research that happens right here in Hawaii. It can help us make the best of this actually difficult growing environment. There's a lot of plant diseases here. Banana bungee top is taking out bananas all over the island. UH-Manoa has developed a resistant variety. It's in field trials right now. This bill passes, it will never get here. Fear of GMOs, I can understand it. They do seem unnatural. Same-sex marriage, people say that's unnatural too. That's not an argument. It's not a case against anything. My mom ate organic food exclusively for 3 years in attempts to treat her chronic back pain caused by an injury. Her back didn't heal. She died suddenly of a brain aneurysm when I was 16. Now, according to the logic of people here, organic food did it. I'm sorry. But that's the kind of evidence we're working with here, anecdote. Thanks.
I'm going to go back to Hilo now. So, can you bring up your next two testifiers, please?
Here in Hilo, we have Dennis Gonzalez in opposition to Bill 113, Draft 2, followed by Michael Shintaku, who also opposes the bill.
I am Dennis Gonzalez, a retired researcher, and I was on the team that developed the genetically engineered papaya. and I opposed Bill 113. Now, the reason I opposed Bill 113 in relation to papaya, prior to the introduction of Bill 79, there was no evidence that papaya was causing any environmental harm or harm to the safety of the people who consumed it. And since the passing of that bill, it essentially criminalizes the growing of papaya, because you have to register it and so forth. The papaya had been deregulated in 1998. Now, we did a lot of studies to look at the safety of the papaya from the environment and from the human health standpoint. And in the last several months, there's been a number of challenges to whether it's safe or not, and our work has been published. Anybody can look at it, and several months later, it still stands. The papaya is safe. Now, there is concern of cross-pollination, and I appreciate that concern. And I think that's the kind of stuff you need to work out and talk about this. And that's why I certainly agree with the ad hoc committee. In fact, I would say that the ad hoc committee should have been established first before introducing such a bill. Then, a lot of progress in this world is made through scientific research. And this GMO technology is one that built upon years of scientific research, and there's a lot of good that can come out of this, especially for resistance to diseases. Now, with passage of these bills, as a retired researcher, and I directed the research center in USDA Hilo, I am afraid that it's going to discourage a lot of scientists from doing cutting-edge research because of the tenor that it says. So it'll put back Hawaii Island backwards instead of moving forward on the scientific end. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mike Shintaku. I grew up in Kau. My grandfather was a farmer. I grew up on that farm. My dad was a farmer. I grew up on his farm. And then decided not to farm. I went away to school. I stayed in school a long time, and I finally got my PhD in plant pathology at Cornell. So I'm very aware of the problems that plant diseases cause, and I've been working on this a long time. And then I was lucky enough to get a job back in Hilo. So I teach now at UH Hilo, and I enjoy my job. The students are great. It's a good place, and there's of course there's a lot of plant diseases here. So I do some work on that. And the other thing I do is I teach. My job is mostly teaching. I teach a lot of students. I'm in a college of ag, and the students we get here at UH Hilo, they're terrific. And some of my best students have gone on, and they work at the seed companies in Kauai and Molokai. And these guys are great. And I've been here almost 20 years. So some of the people who are in my classes, they've taken all my classes, they've gone through, they have jobs, they've got kids now, they're settled in, and then I was kind of minding my own business, not paying attention to this bill and all this, and then it started to get kind of serious for me, and I started to feel like I had to get involved, because it seemed like it was going to hurt people that I knew personally, and and they were really good kids, really good grown-ups now, and what I see is, most of this testimony is very emotional, because everybody's saying that GMOs or transgenic crops are dangerous, but they're not. There's not a single credible study. Because I started looking when I started getting interested in this. I started to look at the research. There's not a single credible study that shows that transgenic crops are dangerous. And what you got to look at is the transgenic papaya on one hand, a non-transgenic papaya on the other hand. Is the transgenic papaya more dangerous than the other one? People have asked that question hundreds of times with corn and papaya and soy and cotton. And these crops, they're different. And that's why farmers buy. These kinds of decisions are made by farmers. They pick a crop because that crop has an advantage. They don't have to go to Monsanto and pay extra to grow that crop. They do it because they see an advantage. There's something about that crop that provides an advantage, and that's why they grow it. And, you know, they're not worried that it's poisonous because it's not, there's not that, I think, I don't know, it seems to me like, I hope this is a very vocal minority that's pushing this bill because it just doesn't make sense. It sort of doesn't make sense to me. I can understand the emotional aspect of this, but you know, if I look at this, just the science of it, this bill doesn't make sense. You know, in Florida now, they got this problem with citrus green. It's a horrible disease, the bacteria, and it's silly. This little plant bug carries the bacteria from plant to plant. And it got to Florida in 2005, and it's spreading. It's awful. So now in Florida, the amount of insecticide they spray to control the disease and the insects like triple. So they're tripling the insecticide applications in Florida now. So that's an attempt to control the spread of this disease. And at the same time, they're looking at these orange trees that may be resistant. And the way they've been made resistant, you can't find natural resistance in the world. So what they've done is they've taken a gene from spinach and made oranges transgenic for the spinach gene, and that may confer resistance. And I don't know. I mean, the people who are so against GMOs, I can't imagine that they would have a problem with an inserted spinach gene because I don't know. It seems like spinach is pretty benign. So there's that, and you know, I'm just continuing my reading, and there's a gene isolated from a little cabbage plant that confers resistance to this bacterial wilt pathogen that I work on. And I would love if I could take that gene and put it into ginger, because it's like the biggest problem in ginger here. Yeah, and then it's just a gene from cabbage. And this bill shuts the door on all this technology, and almost all the testimony I hear is, you know, it always drifts to Monsanto and Roundup. Well, you can ban Roundup, but other herbicides are worse. And the thing with Monsanto is, the big fear of Monsanto is to control the food supply. They'll tell you what to grow. But this bill, this county council bill, is doing what people are afraid Monsanto will do, control what the farmers can grow. That's all. Thanks. I oppose the bill.
Thank you very much. Going back to Pohoa, 2 more testifiers, please.
First we have Ms. Joyce Alberto Soleta, representing herself, and following her will be Ms. Toby Hazel, representing herself, both in support of Bill 113.
Thank you. My name is Joyce Alberto Soleta. I've lived in Hawaii going on to 30 years, be 30 years in November. And I've always chosen Puna as my home, and I think I always will. I definitely support Bill 113 Draft 2. I definitely oppose Mr. Onishi's amendments. I think Mr. Onishi is very tardy producing these amendments. I think the subject matter has been covered before in numerous committee meetings, and that's when he should have put these things through. I also have a problem here with a possible, I don't know if it is a sunshine law violation or not. I obtained in my email from the county communications for 393.52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. I don't see them on the table. I don't see any hard copies of them. Instead, I see 393, 64, and 63 and 64, and 66 and 67 from Mr. Onishi. I think the verbiage is much the same. I want to know why they changed the numbers to the 11th hour. And since 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56 are not here, no hard copies, we can't see them, you don't have any right to put those on the table at all. So I'm assuming you're going to replace them with the 393.6, etc. from Mr. Onishi, which I definitely severely oppose. There's been a lot of talk about whether GMOs are safe or not, and I'm going to tell you that from the studies and the reports that I've read and listened to, that the lab studies were not conclusive because they were too short in duration. And the lab studies that did show rats, laboratory animals being severely affected when given a diet of GMO food, they were kind of poo-pooed. I'm really concerned with the fact that I'm an organic kitchen garden grower. And if I have people around me that are going to be growing genetically modified products and crops and spraying all kinds of noxious chemicals, and I get the overspray, and my crops are toxified by the GM, the genetically modified pollen and or seeds, I'm not going to be a happy camper. I have a right to grow what I want to grow and protect my body the way I feel I must. This bill, 113, protects our public health and safety and helps us to grow non-GMO food, whether it's organic or commercial seed. We have the right to choose that. And if anything ever goes into a field, any GM crops invade non-GMO fields, you have to pass laws where the onus is on the producer of those seeds, that the person who's invaded isn't sued by a large company. Thank you.
Next testifier, please.
Okay, my name is Toby Hazel, and I'm in support of Bill 113 with no exemptions and no exceptions. I just wanted to say, World Food Day is tomorrow, and there's going to be a lot of marches across the country and the world marching against Monsanto. I mean, it's kind of like you can't fool all the people all of the time. There's something going on here, and a lot of people want to be counted on how they feel and think about this. It's sort of like we're breaking into a two-party system with agriculture. The Democrats and the Republicans of agriculture. And both parties have to be able to exist and coexist. If we can't figure out a way for that to happen, there's going to be kind of a continuing stress. In response to the UH professor, why is Dr. Vansanta Shiva traveling all over the world right now to talk about why this GMO food is not a good idea? She came to the Hawaii legislature. I was in New York for 8 months. She came to every college in New York, including the Culinary Institute, to warn about GMO. Now, this is not a stupid woman. She's very educated about all these things with plants and with farming. And she's very concerned about the Indian farmers, and we know what a mess they're in. So, to pretend, that, like I said before, nobody's going to play with matches. We don't want farmers playing with matches. We don't want corporations playing with matches. It doesn't mean that some of these things can't develop, but they have to develop under safe guidelines. And that's what this bill is about. Safety first. We can't open Pandora's box and let every horrible thing escape and then go, oh, well, we're going to have hope left over. That really isn't going to cover it for everybody. It's interesting with Mr. Craig Venter, for instance, and we understand that synthetic biology really wants to take over. We understand that synthetic biology means engineers want to tinker with everything. Well, they can tinker with what they want to tinker with, but the rest of us who want natural organic things, we have rights also. So, what's it going to be? Separate but unequal? No, that's not, it didn't work all the way up to the Supreme Court before. And so, we're going to have to look at, how we're going to protect the rights of both parties, of both ideologies. Thank you.
Coming back to Kona, I'm going to ask Una Greenway, Nomi Carmona, and Sharon Williford to please come forward. I'm sorry.
Hello, Chair and Council. My name is Una Greenaway, and you've heard from me before. I won't go on too long. I did submit an amendment to sunset in 2 years the GMO corn that's being grown right now in Hamakua. I was very much aware of the process that the Hamakua folks went through with their agricultural plan. It was like 2 years long. The folks spoke and they said, we don't want GMOs grown in Hamakua. I don't live there, but they did speak, and I know Ms. Poindexter represents them, and I don't think the folks there are really happy about this situation. So please listen to the folks of that district. I have heard from lots of folks living there that are quite concerned about the 7-mile long patch of corn. And I just wanted to say that I'm also willing to sit on the task force, as I am very committed to being civilly engaged in this conversation, and I think it's really important. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and remember the game gave me the green light today. Thank you.
Aloha Council, my name is Sharon Williford. That is not a genetically modified name, Williford. People think that I'm some kind of a anonymous person on the internet. Anyway, I hope you all got to read your records and appreciate all your efforts. It's a miracle that we're all here. And I do want to say that pesticide organophosphate poisoning is very painful. We don't want our children to have to suffer this horrendous poisoning, which some of us have experienced. You've had hundreds of emails from me, and if anyone has any questions, you're welcome to come in anytime. I'd like to give the rest of my time to Noni, who came here direct from being in Kauai, and she lives in Oahu and has done a tremendous job for us. So thank you. Welcome. Aloha.
Aloha, Kauai County Council. My name is Nomi Carmona from a Hawaii nonprofit Babes Against Biotech. We're statewide, but we're based in Oahu. And I just came from Kauai last night. I'm here to support the bill, Draft 2. I support it on behalf of our 12,000 members, and I am against the Haggard amendment suggested by Mr. Fresh. I would, however, support the amendment removing GMO corn, or at least phasing it out. So I'm here to tell you, please save yourselves, save your people from what we're going through on all the other islands. I slept last night with dozens of other Kauai residents in a storm on the cement outside of the county building. I've held the mothers in my arms who bawl because their children are being poisoned by the GMO fields. I've seen it across the island. I do this, and I'm telling you, save yourselves. If you're not smart enough to save yourself, if you're not fresh enough to save yourself, or to pay attention to the people who you may be poisoning, I can't help you. But for the rest of you, the world is watching and we need your help now. These companies are like well-funded cockroaches, and they will spend any amount of money to conceal themselves. And once they're in, they're nearly impossible to get out. They're like an infestation. Kauai is begging for the right to know what the GMO companies are spraying on them. It's a tragedy. And what you have here is an opportunity to be heroes for the entire world. If you don't pass the bill, you'll be like a gaping cavern for them to come in and infest and infect. And once they come, they're the most invasive species of all. If you think that the coqui frogs are an annoying sound, try ignoring the screaming of mothers saying, save our kids, over and over outside of your council building, because that's what's happening on Kauai right now. And I don't have that option in Honolulu, where my council is taking $51,000 from GMO companies. This state has taken over $414,000 from GMO companies and their registered lobbyists. Your state delegates have taken over $48,000, no, $49,000 of campaign funding directly Senator Solomon is number 6 of 10 most GMO-funded senators in the state. She appointed a Monsanto lobbyist to nominate water commissioners 2 months after Honolulu blocked our community, blocked them from building a 2.6 million gallon well per day. They wanted to take up our public resources. We blocked them. They have the Senate President, Malama Solomon's appointment from her committee, put a Monsanto lobbyist in charge of picking the next water commissioners. The same with the governor, who's taken $34,400. And so that's the end of Sharon's time, right?
No, I'll give each person 3 minutes.
Pardon?
Each testifier has 3 minutes.
Wait, so did you start over when we switched? She gave me the rest of her time, I thought.
Yeah. She didn't use all her time, but you have 3 minutes.
Oh, so I have 3 minutes from now.
You have 3 minutes from now we started. I'm sorry, Nomi, but we have so many people returning.
I totally understand. It's just that I have dedicated my life to this, and if you have the opportunity to ban GMOs, you have to. Your rep, Suchi, is number 3 of 10 most funded. He was awarded Biotech Legislator of the Year by the industry. And your responsibility is to save the remaining precious land of Hawaii. The rest of us are contaminated.
Have her read the rest.
It's your responsibility to protect our life, our land, our health, our food, our water, and our genetic heritage. So for the love of Hawaii, please learn about the birth defects from our pediatricians on Kauai and save yourself before you enjoy the cool drift of pesticide spray on your face. Mahalo.
Yeah.
Okay, we'd like to go back to Hilo now. 2 more testifiers, please.
Here in Hilo, we have Jim Albertini, who has a comment. He is to be followed by Donald Reservation Business Support.
Aloha, council members. I'm an organic farmer of fruits and vegetables, and I've been farming in Curtistown for 33 years. I support Bill 113, Draft 2. I believe this bill is an important stand for the democratic rights of citizens of Hawaii County against the overdue influence of corporate agribusiness. Bill 113 is an important step to protect Hawaii County and the planet from the toxic influence of GMO crops. By passing Bill 113, we are saying stop the continued corruption of our democracy by corporate money. We are saying stop the poisoning of our environment and stop the loss of biodiversity and the continued assault on the basic rights of farmers and citizens around the world by monopoly GMO corporations such as Monsanto. Mr. Onishi has introduced several amendments which appear to broaden the exemptions, requires no registration, and waters down the intent of the bill with many loopholes. I oppose Mr. Onishi's amendments. Council members, both you and I know that corporate interests are destroying the earth and pushing the world to the brink of economic and climate collapse. Please stand up to these destructive interests. Hawaii County can become a model of sustainability for the world. Passing Bill 113 is a very positive step in the right direction.
Thank you. Next testifier, please.
Yes, I'm Donald Wessels. Hawaii Island is a unique place and has a great natural heritage that is dying and disappearing. We need to protect Hawaii Island's agricultural and ecological base by taking precautions that maintains ecological healthy environment. That is our right and our duty to ourselves and our children. We are concerned citizens of Hawaii County do understand the science of GMOs, and we do not trust it. We also understand the concerns of the giant bio businesses. We are not their concern. The so-called science paid by the bio industry reflects their main concern, larger profits. It is up to this council within its legitimate authority to establish enduring principles that will stand and defend the health concerns of the people of Hawaii County. Please see to it that this government leaves a legacy of caring for the health of our grandchildren and their grandchildren. We need for Hawaii Council to do their duty and pass Bill 113 now. Assert your legitimate authority and leave a legacy of precautionary concern for the ecological health of Hawaii Island and the personal health of its people. Whatever comes of the anti-GMO laws, let this be the beginning of the discussion on what is best for the natural and cultural heritage of this unique place. We need to go beyond the hype and the misinformation into a reasonable and informed dialogue that holds to account our government's our governments, which includes private corporations, to take health precautions beyond short-term profit motives that will help ensure the health of its citizens. Councilpersons Dennis Onishi has shown contempt for Bill 1113 in its previous incarnations by frequently being absent when this bill has been brought before the council, and now he simply seeks to undermine its effectiveness with his exemptions. Please pass Bill 113 without councilpersons Dennis Onishi's exemptions. Mahalo.
I'm sorry. Oh, it's fine. So I'm going to take a 5-minute recess. Thank you.